Alright, you and I are about to meet a demonic prince who wipes out entire clans without blinking. But his cruelty gets him exiled to the human world. Now, he is stuck living as a regular high schooler, dealing with the mortals he absolutely hates. His demonic powers react to every ounce of evil, and trust me, the human world is full of it. He is supposed to serve his sentence quietly, but, you watch closely, he is about to unleash forbidden power in the one place he absolutely should not. It all started when a demon named Ravvice Vindika slaughtered everyone in the Hilt clan castle. The final survivor cursed him, screaming out if he really thought he could get away with all this blood. Ravvice just looked back and asked if they truly thought he came here without knowing their crimes. This was not some mass murder to him. It was a holy execution. With that, he finished the last one. But that bloodbath had massive consequences. He was arrested and brought before his father, the great King Vindika. The king was furious at his son's actions, demanding to know how he dared to commit such atrocities. He called Ravvice a fool who knew nothing. He had ordered evidence of treason, not a total clan extermination. By shattering the order of the demon realm, he had gone too far. Ravvice just indignantly asked what that meant. He claimed the evidence was right there all along. The Hilt clan were just hopeless fools clinging to their outdated bloodline. The king could not bring himself to punish them, turning a blind eye to every single one of their crimes. As the demons glared, the king barked that executions require strict procedures, not some brat's petty sense of justice. Ravvice just chuckled, calling the whole situation absolutely ridiculous. The law of the demon world says darkness is consumed by deeper darkness. Gamadare stayed silent, eyes cold. Ravvice shouted back, asking how a Vindika could rule if he was too weak to absorb the darkness around him. It was obvious. The order of their world now depended entirely on the whims of the nobility. His father just sighed, calling his son's perspective truly foolish. Ravvice insisted the Vindika line would only survive if the Hilt were destroyed, before they could steal the throne. Was that not why he was sent to investigate? To stop those cowards from ignoring the law? His father stayed silent, letting out a heavy sigh before saying it was useless to even talk. The final decision on his punishment had already been signed by the 12 Black Thrones. He raised his voice, announcing the sentence for breaking the law and slaughtering an entire clan, banished to the human world. Ravvice's eyes went wide as he frantically asked if he was serious. He had to atone for his sins in a world where his power would be sealed, finally learning the true dignity of the Vindika line. Ravvice could not accept a fate like that. He argued that while he killed their followers, he did not destroy their souls, but his father was not listening anymore. He gave the command to the 12 thrones to carry out the sentence immediately. They surrounded him with magic as Ravvice screamed, refusing to accept this sentence. He shouted that he would not leave because he did nothing wrong. I know what you're thinking, that's a brutal betrayal. Banbe just scorched his face while laughing. He promised to watch over his place. Ravvice cursed in pure rage before flames engulfed his entire body. And just like that, the prince was exiled. But the human world has its own rules. He must live the life of the host body, not take his own life before his time, and never kill a human. Break those rules, and his soul would be erased forever. Then, Ravvice woke up in another body. He bolted out of bed, screaming at the top of his lungs, but the pain was gone. Catching his breath, he looked at his trembling hands and realized he was really there. He gritted his teeth and slapped his own face. He exclaimed that he could not believe he had actually ended up trapped in the pathetic human world. That idiot Banbe. The second he gets back home, the first thing he will do is rip out his horn. He felt a wave of weakness, wondering why this body ached so much. He stood up, looking at his weak hands, and realized he was trapped. Even in the end, those Hilt clan bastards were still finding ways to be useless. Even breathing felt heavy. Was there a sulfur source nearby? Then, the door suddenly creaked open. The sister of the body's previous owner walked in, checking on the sudden noise. Seeing him awake, she called out with tears in her eyes. Trust me, his human life just got very complicated. All right, you and I are about to dive into the story of a demon lord reborn as a total loser. Ravi looked at her in total confusion. Who is this girl? A relative of the guy whose body he stole? His mother, Seojuhi, burst into the room next. She called him Minho, crying and thanking the heavens that her son finally woke up. She sobbed about how much pain he must have endured. Ravi had no clue what was happening or how to handle this. They say the human world is one of the 3 great hells. Can he actually find a way to survive here? Then the head of the family, Jong Tasik, appeared. He glared at his son while his tearful wife explained that Minho was back. He stayed silent, giving him a cold, stern look before telling him to get his head straight and go to school tomorrow. Since he had been stuck in bed for a full week, he would have plenty of catching up to do. He walked out, ignoring his wife when she said Minho was still weak. He just told her to shut up and move on. Ravi watched them leave in shock. The girl asked if he was okay, but he was fascinated by that man's cold gaze. He actually started to like the guy. After all, there are people here who look just like demons. He didn't even realize he was starting to smile. It creeped Minho's sister out, and then he caught himself mid-grin. He quickly forced a frown, annoyed that he had accidentally started enjoying the weird situation he was in. Now, pay attention here, because navigating a human high school is going to be the ultimate survival test for a demon. He hopped out of the car, giving her a short goodbye as she watched him walk away with a worried look. He scanned the school grounds, remembering he had actually visited this exact place in the demon world 6 centuries ago. Being stuck in a human school at this age is pure torture. But then again, the human world is hell, right? He found his seat in the classroom, deciding to keep a low profile. He needed to avoid having his soul completely wiped out. He had crushed the Hilt clan to buy himself some precious time. He just needed to return home and take his father's throne before the Vindika house fell. Suddenly, 2 classmates walked up behind him. One of them acted surprised to see him after so long, but Ravi just turned around with a heavy frown. The guy dropped a hand on his shoulder and smirked, asking if he brought the protection money he owed them. Suddenly, his body flinched and shrank back on its own. He didn't expect that reaction, but then Minho's memories hit him like a flood. He saw how they bullied him, beating and laughing at him. Finally, he understood why his entire body felt like it was aching. It was all because of these losers. One of them smacked his head, laughing about how much he had shriveled up. He joked that they were supposed to be friends, even if Minho was pathetic. He kept slapping his head while pulling out a phone, demanding a proper greeting and the cash as a sign of their friendship. Our main character was stunned. He couldn't wrap his head around the fact that a human was actually hitting him right now. Back at the demon school, they were always taught exactly what a human was. One demon shouted that they looked disgusting, like spineless invertebrates that smell. Teacher Cynthia confirmed that he was absolutely right. Humans are incredibly vulgar creatures. They will do anything just to hide how weak they truly are. You and I both know what happens when you tell a demon that humans deserve to be burned. She agreed with his logic. If he ever met a human, he should just crush them into the dirt immediately. Ravi clenched his fists in a silent rage. How dare a pathetic, lowly human even think about touching him? He grabbed Toe by the hair and slammed his face into the desk. Humans really are as stupid as they say. His friend Sungan immediately jumped toward Ravi, screaming and asking if he had completely lost his mind. His magic reacted instantly. He spun around as the guy threw a punch, shouting about whether he wanted to die again. Ravi didn't break a sweat. He reacted to every single move with ease. He dodged the blow, wondering if human insults were actually the trigger for his magic. He used that connection to deliver a massive punch, sending the kid flying across the room and into the metal lockers. The rest of the class just stood there in total shock. Ravi looked at his hand, knowing magic should be sealed here. Yet, even in this weak human body, his power was reacting to their aggression. His classmate Xian called out in worry, wondering if this was really Minho. Meanwhile, the kid he slammed got up with a chair. Trust me, you and I are going to love seeing this payback. Alright, stick with me as our hero spins around and delivers a brutal kick to the chest, leaving the bully gasping for air. Ravvice just scoffs, thinking that people only act tough and throw insults to mask their own pathetic weaknesses. With a sharp snap, he drives a knee into the guy's jaw, wondering if this trash learned his foul mouth from his mother. One heavy hit later, and the bully is out cold on the floor, right next to his buddy. The entire class is dead silent, stunned that a loser like Minho just wiped the floor with Teo and Sunyuk. Our main character just smirks, wondering if his father still wants him to play nice. He flashes a terrifying grin at the room and asks who else wants a turn. He looks around with an ominous smile, daring anyone to step up. Go ahead, just try. Everyone is reeling from how the quiet Minho is acting now, and Xian is shocked he never knew his friend was this powerful. Xian cautiously walks up and asks if he is all right. Ravvice smiles, remembering that this kid actually tried to help him before. This guy seems like the perfect candidate for a servant. He gives a dark reply that everything is fine, and eventually, the school day ends. As they walk out, Xian can't stop gushing about how epic it was to see him take those bullies down solo. It was incredible. He asks if Minho was actually reincarnated as some hero from another world. Now pay attention, because those words actually scare our hero for a second, thinking his cover is blown. But turns out, Xian is just a huge fan of fantasy webtoons. Ravvice still shoots him a suspicious look, worried this potential servant is sharper than he looks. He flashes back to a talk with Banbe. He was warned that in the human world, killing is strictly forbidden. Taking a life means certain death for a demon. Teacher Cynthia always said that the cynical deserve to be crushed anyway. Banbe argued that they shouldn't take human lives lightly. After all, as gods of death, they are supposed to be in control. Ravvice claims humans are always trying to kill each other anyway. Banbe just sighs and calls them stupid. That is exactly why they exist. He brushes it off, but the demon warns him to remember the rules. If you kill a human, your soul gets destroyed. He just shrugs, claiming he does not care about any of that. He is a high-level demon, so why would he ever visit the human world? Well, fate had other plans. Staring at the sky, he wonders how to shut people up without killing them. Just then, Xion mentions how great it would be if reincarnation was real. He wishes he could just wake up in another world. Looking at him, Ravvice can practically smell the kid's desperate pain. But then the boy admits he knows reincarnation is all just nonsense and fairy tales. Xion knew better than anyone the pain he endured before breaking. Our hero is just relieved, his true identity is still safe. When the kid calls him cool, he shudders in disgust. Getting praised by a human is honestly shameful to him. Soon, night falls. While sitting on his bed, he realizes his magical powers were definitely responding when those people showed him aggression. A demon stuck in a human vessel shouldn't be able to use magic at all. So, how is this happening? You and I both know Ravvice Vindika has no limits. But suddenly, an agonizing pain shoots through his entire body. He collapses onto the mattress, realizing this pathetic human body is way too weak to handle his massive magic. One day as a human, and he is already in total agony, unable to even sleep from the pain. But those are just words. He passes out in literally 1 second. Morning turns to evening, classes finish, and our main character leaves with his servant. Xion is beaming, saying it has been forever since they had a normal day. He is incredibly grateful to his friend. Thanks to him, nobody messed with them all day. Ravvice just snorts, saying he actually preferred it when they were fighting him. He really wanted another chance to test his magic. Suddenly, a familiar voice calls out to him from behind. He turns to see Teo backed up by a whole new squad of bullies. Looks like he went and got reinforcements. The leader of the group steps forward and asks if he is the punk who touched his little brother. They have been protecting him for a fee all this time, and now he is repaying their kindness like this? Xion is trembling with pure terror, but Ravvice? He is actually excited. He wears a wide smile and confirms he did put his hands on his brother. The guy tells him to follow them, and Ravvice cannot wait to see where this is going. They head to a construction site where the leader immediately starts chewing Teo out. He told him not to be a victim, yet he came back beaten like a weakling. Teo begs for forgiveness, and then the leader turns to our hero, asking what he is supposed to do now. If he just lets this slide, he would be a pretty terrible older brother for not looking out for his sibling. He pokes our main character in the forehead and asks if his mother taught him to hit his friends. He just smirks and says, "That is true." The bully laughs nervously, calls him an idiot, then swings his arm, asking if he is being mocked. "Trust me, we are about to see a bloodbath. Alright, you and I are about to see a complete monster unleash hell." He catches the wrist, remembering his mother's poison. He squeezes that hand so tight we actually hear the bone crunch followed by a blood-curdling scream. The guy desperately tries to rip his hand away, but Ravvice's grip is like a steel vice. Ravvice pounces instantly, channeling his legendary mother who literally poisons tongues before burying a massive, violent fist into the guy's face. The beating continues. He realizes violence binds the flesh, but words rot the soul. These losers were practically begging for this. Two and the other bullies shout in worry, but our main character just asks why they're standing there like statues. He tells them to finish him off already. Now the whole crowd is charging, and honestly, that's exactly what he wanted. Now watch this, his eyes flash as he charges. The more evil he finds, the more power he absorbs. 1 punch per bully, perfectly precise. Xion is absolutely floored watching this one-sided massacre finally come to a brutal end. Ravvice sighs, looks up at the sky, and spreads his arms out wide. Finally, he's starting to feel a little bit better. While his uncle was busy teaching people violence, his mother was busy perfecting the art of the deadly curse. Now he truly gets why he was given this power. He reaches for the heavens while Xion calls out to him. But they aren't alone. A rat has been watching from the shadows, and this is no ordinary rodent. It's a demon. Everything the rat sees goes straight to Uncle Varkin. His assistant, Banbe, reports that the mission was carried out flawlessly. The demon lord is thrilled with his nephew. He rests his foot on a lesser demon, noting the boy loves his gift. Banbe smirks. Instead of a restriction stone, he secretly implanted a demonic bloodstone into the boy's eye. He wonders how long it'll hold. Varkin just laughs, shocked the kid actually managed to wipe out the entire Hilt clan. Banbe points out the obvious, Ravvice isn't the type of guy to stop until he gets exactly what he's owed. Varkin knows nobody can break that stubbornness. Even though Gedare threw him into the human world, the man is just heartless. Banbe adds that scum like him only understand one thing, total and forceful submission. And that happens to be the motto of their great demon king, Gedare. Varkin smiles. Only the worst sinners, even by demon standards, get exiled. Ravvice is definitely in for a rough time. When did that brat get so wild? Banbe asks if that's the real reason he gave him the bloodstone. He waves his hands over a bowl, announcing that everything is ready to watch our sinner in the human world. Varkin tells him to show the view immediately. He pumps dark energy into the bowl, noting that since Ravvice is finally living among the humans, he is going to have to face those demons one way or another. Wait for it, Varkin gathers the dark energy into a sphere, waiting for the moment his nephew finally experiences true and soul-crushing darkness. Time passes, and now our main character and his servant are hanging out at a local restaurant. While they dig into some spicy tatokabaki, Shion keeps asking in total awe how he pulled off those incredible moves. He even took down that bully's brother. It was like a movie. Ravvice just laughs and asks if this is hellfire. He calls it nonsense, but Shion is worried. He asks why he's crying, but Ravvice just calls him a fool. It's just eye sweat. Shion warned him to take it easy, but a demon who fears fire isn't a demon at all. But right then, the servant's phone starts ringing. The name Jinji pops up, and Shion goes ghost white. Our main character asks him what the hell is wrong. He won't answer. Shion suddenly stands up, blurting out a quick goodbye about some urgent business before rushing off. Ravvice notices his hands are shaking like crazy. Something's wrong. Soon, night falls over the city. Down in a basement tattoo parlor, a man is being tortured. He screams as G tells him to sit still. If he wanted to avoid this, he should have paid the money on time. Now, he's just giving her extra work. She finishes up with a smile, saying it's all ready. The ink looks sharp and his skin was a perfect canvas. She tattooed the word thief right on his forehead. Just then, her assistant calls out he's brought the next guest. Shion stands there trembling while G asks why he took so long. She tells him to look at the couch. She grabs Shion's face, forcing him to lean over. She demands that he opens his eyes and looks very closely. Does he know what that says? It's a brand for thieves. This guy skipped his debt, so he got what's coming. Now, what about him? Is their deal still on track? Everything is going according to the plan, right? Staring at the mark, he trembles while admitting to her and us that mistakes are bound to happen. All right, you and I are diving into a scene where she slaps him down, asking if he thinks this is a joke. She grabbed the tattoo machine, wondering why he was still so clueless, while her thugs pinned his arms against the seat. Gripping his wrist, she threatened to ink him right then and there just so he would never forget this moment. He begged her to stop, but she just leaned in, warning him that this was his absolute final chance to listen. Unless he wanted to end up like the last guy, he better get to work and prepare everything exactly right. Later, Shion sat at his computer, staring at the screen with shaking hands, wondering if he should even finish the job. He squeezed his hand, trying to kill the tremors, knowing that failing now would lead to something truly terrible. While he forced himself to work, Ravvice was currently busy dealing with a massive stomachache. He was sprawled on the bed, kicking his legs around to try and ignore the stabbing pain. Turns out, spicy food was his ultimate weakness. His stomach was on fire, and his entire body felt like a total wreck. One little scrap and his shoulders were already killing him. He ripped off his shirt and started doing push-ups immediately. There was no way Ravvice Vindika was going to let some minor weakness slow him down. He was determined to fix this pathetic body, no matter the pain. Before he knew it, morning had finally arrived. Shion stood at school, clutching a flash drive and realizing the app he created was way too dangerous for anyone. Now pay attention, because just as he gets nervous thinking about the threat, our main character appears. He called out and grabbed Shion's shoulder, making the poor kid scream in terror. He asked why he was acting so jumpy. Shion looked at him, briefly considering asking Minho for help, but he shot that idea down before it could even take root. No matter how strong Minho was now, dealing with G was a whole different level of danger. He could not risk Minho getting hurt. Suddenly, a girl named Songhai walked by, and Ravi caught a scent that was hauntingly and dangerously familiar. Without warning, she tripped and slammed face first into the floor. As she lay unconscious, Shion rushed over to check on her. He rolled her over, but when he saw her smiling and drooling with a smashed nose, he froze in shock. Terrified by the sight, he immediately scrambled back away from her. Her body started twitching violently. Ravi sensed a demonic aura, wondering how a human could possibly be carrying that kind of energy. A teacher rushed over to help, but the girl was completely unresponsive as he tried to talk to her. As the teacher carried her off, Ravi spotted a tattoo on her arm, the unmistakable crest of the Hilt family. You and I are definitely going to want to see him investigate this mystery. That evening, he went to the hospital to find Suni. But at the door, a police officer blocked his way. She told him the patient needed rest, and that there were absolutely no visitors allowed right now. The main character looked her in the eye and cast a spell. Her eyes glazed over as she mindlessly returned to her post and stopped reacting entirely. He slipped inside, thinking that even with this tiny bit of magic, he could pull this off. It would not last forever, but it was enough to get him in the door. Suni looked up in anger as he entered, asking who he was. He just stared back and asked the same thing. Who exactly was she? She was confused and furious, demanding to know why he had the nerve to just barge into her hospital room. He suddenly grabbed her wrist and yanked her close. She screamed in pain, but he only cared about that mark. He demanded to know how a lowly human dared to wear the Hilt family crest. She claimed he was crazy, but he threatened her, saying she should talk if she didn't want things to get worse. Who was she? His cold gaze had her sweating and trembling in pure terror. Catching a glimpse of a horned shadow behind him, she stammered, wondering if she was looking at a demon. He told her to speak clearly. Terrified, she admitted she had no idea what the tattoo actually meant or represented. G told her she needed the ink to join the gang, promising it came with diet pills as a bonus reward. Ravi realized he had definitely smelled this girl's faint scent before, back during his time in the demon world. Years ago, he and Bonet had entered the tower. Bonet nervously warned him that they were in a restricted zone. Our main character just smirked and called him a total coward, making the other boy snap back and exclaim that he wasn't scared of anything. He just did not want to get caught and face the punishment. And that is where we leave it for now, trust me. This mystery is just beginning. You and I are about to see what happens when you leave a dangerous man alone while he wonders how much longer they have to walk. They headed deep into the basement, walking through the corridor in silence until Banbe finally spoke up and asked if he knew the way. Ravi replied that he had no idea. If he shared the secret, then they would both find out soon enough. The boy cleared his throat, saying the darkness reminded him of a story about eyes that could surpass any racial limitations. They say you can lose your sight in two ways, either from light that is too bright, or from eyes that atrophy in total darkness. Exactly like this place right here. Now pay attention, because Ravi just hissed for silence as they reached a spacious hall where something is waiting in the dark for them. In the middle of the hall lay a body covered in flowers. Banbe got scared and asked what the hell that thing was. Ravi boldly stepped forward to get a closer look, while Banbe worriedly warned him that approaching the corpse was far too dangerous. Despite the warning, he followed his friend toward the body. Banbe fearfully asked if that was Jeremy Hilt lying there on the floor. Ravi noted that, judging by his condition, this idiot was already dead. His attention was immediately drawn to the strange blue flowers. They were growing right out of the corpse. Banbe begged him not to touch them, but Ravi reached out way too late. He pulled the flower out by the roots, releasing a terrible stench that made Banbe hide behind his back in pure terror. Seeing the roots squirming like they were alive, Ravi realized these were devouring flowers. This shouldn't be happening in a place like this. At that moment, Ravi caught that same scent on the girl. She was shaking with fear and begging for someone to help her. Ravi looked out the window and spotted a bat hanging from a branch, watching his every move with an intense gaze. The Batmaster thought they would meet soon, while Ravi headed over to a local tattoo parlor to see if he could find any answers. He stopped at the entrance, wondering if the Hilt family tattoo and the devouring flower were really just a massive coincidence after all. Meanwhile, the thugs were walking through the basement, discussing a student named Xian and why he was so important. They wondered why Youngmu wanted this kid so badly. It wasn't the boy he needed, but the special app he created. Okay, I know what you're thinking, Candy. But trust me, this blue bow stuff they are using is absolutely lethal. This was Youngmu's latest development. One of them told the guy to stop eating the damn things before it was too late. Hadn't he heard about Zhu-sun? This new product probably had insane side effects, but the guy said he didn't even care. The only thing that mattered was the high. Right at that moment, Ravi stepped out from around the corner. He glanced at the group, recognizing that same smell and the unmistakable symbol of the Hilt family once again. They stopped when they saw him, and Ravi asked if they also got that Jingy tattoo. The guy just called him a total idiot. He patted Ravi on the cheek, saying he needed to speak respectfully to his elders. Obviously, Ravi was getting angry. He immediately slapped the hand away and delivered a brutal punch to the face, knocking the man out cold on the spot. As he fell, the others shouted in a rage, asking who sent him. Instead of an answer, the next guy took a fist. The blow threw him back. Another man screamed in rage and attacked, but Ravi was far more accurate with his deadly strikes. He collapsed to the floor with a scream. The remaining guy pulled out a knife and lunged straight at Ravi. Ravi spun around and kicked him in the head with all his might before demanding to know where Jinji was hidden. He stood up like a rabid beast, eyes bulging out of his head while thick drool ran down his chin in a disgusting display. Ravi was surprised, wondering if the demonic energy in the air had suddenly become even stronger than it was before. The man pounced, and Ravi noticed his movements had changed. Did the candy actually enhance his physical abilities to this level? He tried to step away but tripped and fell. The guy jumped at him like a maniac, making Ravi curse nervously as he fell. Meanwhile, Jinji approached the boss and apologized because the app wasn't ready yet. She was truly sorry for the delay. Her friends claimed they had explained the situation clearly this time, so everything would be finished very soon. Youngmu clutched his head, noting they said the same thing when they caught the person stealing his blue bows last time. The humiliated men beside Jinji begged for mercy, desperately asking for just one more chance to make things right. Youngmu silently looked at the blue flowers in the vase before taking them out and approaching the terrified thief. The man looked up with a terrified gaze, begging for mercy while hysterically shaking his head because he knew exactly what was about to happen next. Youngmu swung his arm and pierced the man's eye socket with a sharp flower stem, instantly silencing his screams. A tear ran down his cheek as he let out a soft wheeze. You and I just witnessed a monster in human skin. Trust me, the upcoming revenge is going to be absolutely epic. Alright, You and I are jumping straight into the carnage where one strike sends blood splattering as a body hits the floor in agony. Younglu makes it clear that there are 0 second chances. He hopes everyone present understands that. He turns to Ji, demanding she stop the idle talk and bring exactly what he needs right now. Terrified, she looks away and whispers that she understands everything. Outside, she frantically calls Xian, but the line just rings and rings for a long time. Xian is deep into his computer work until he finally pauses to answer the incoming call. It is Ravvice. He wanted to handle this solo, but the local guys are staying silent. Xian does not understand until Ravvice mentions Jingjae. Suddenly he is panicking, asking how Ravvice even knows who she is. Ravvice just saw her name on a screen. Now he needs to know where she lives. Xian is stressed. Did those idiots really drag Ravvice into this mess too? No, Ravvice reached out himself. He just needs to verify a few things. He is at the tattoo parlor now, but Jingji is nowhere to be found. He notices a cat flinching on the stairs. Xian throws on a sweater and bolts for the door, warning Ravvice not to touch that cat under any circumstances. He is on his way. Xian hangs up before Ravvice can get another word in. Then Ravvice looks at the cat. It is acting strange, like it is only pretending to be an animal. Now pay attention, because this is where it gets crazy. He grabs the cat and demands it start talking like a human. The terrified cat actually starts speaking, and the interrogation begins. First it was a rat, then a bat, and now it is a cat. She is an observer from the demon world, sent to keep a discreet eye on the prisoner. Our main character is not buying it. Her energy is way too weak for a real demon. He noticed because she stood out too much. Even now, she is standing on her hind legs. She only now realizes it and is totally shocked. Ravvice decides there is no point in asking her anything else. He uses magic to force the owner to show himself. Her eyes go blank while Banbe smirks, thinking this happened even faster than he expected. Banbe is impressed he guessed so quickly, but the main character just calls him an idiot. Banbe acts offended. Why be so rude to an old friend? Ravvice wonders what the scheme is this time, but Banbe plays dumb. Ravvice sighs. Fine, he will ask something else. Nothing in this world is like he remembers. Can prisoners really use magic here? Apparently, there are exceptions to every rule. He will find out soon. But then Ravvice catches a scent, the forbidden devouring flower. The scent is overwhelming. It is the same smell from back then. You and I need to realize how serious this is, that flower is forbidden even in the demon world, yet he smells it here. These creatures are too tough to stay dead. They have infiltrated the human world. Is this the Hilt family again? Have their powers really survived here? Banbe laughs. This world is not what it used to be. It is a breeding ground for conspiracies now, and Ravvice arrived just in time to fix it. What is that supposed to mean? Before he can ask, the connection snaps shut. He curses under his breath while Ji keeps blowing up Xian's phone. Every second counts and he is not answering. Fine, she dials another number. Xian is finished. She calls Sungjun, who is currently chilling at a computer club. She orders him to the office immediately. They are going to hunt down that idiot Xian. Meanwhile, Ravvice interrogates the cat. Since she is an observer, she must know this world well. She has to search for prisoners one by one, so she regularly receives top-notch information and searching skills. He orders her to show her true form. Don't make him do it for her. Terrified, she promises to comply. Her paws fold, and her body begins to glow. You saw that too, right? Unreal. Alright. You and I are diving into a world where Ravs looks at this girl and calls her weak. He knows Banbe sent her for a reason though. So, what is her name? She looks down, admitting she doesn't have a name at all. The main character doesn't waste a second and just names her street on the spot. Since he found her on the street, it fits perfectly. He tells her never to forget it, and she actually loves it. Her mood flips instantly as she cheers and thanks him. Now, he demands the real info she needs to tell him everything about the human world. Meanwhile, Xian is running for his life. He is in serious danger and has to stand his ground until the very end to survive this mess. He flashes back to the moment he left the app competition building. He was riding high after winning, but then he spotted some suspicious guys blocking his path. Jay speaks up, asking if he is the developer who just won the trophy. She hears the prize was a pathetic 5,001 won. Laughing, she orders the guys to grab him. Xian screams in terror as they drag him into a car and speed off. Forced to sit before Yongmu, he is asked why he is so afraid. It is just a business deal after all. Look at the seat next to you. There is 50 million won in cold cash. All he has to do is sell his app. He fires back that it is not for sale. That is not why he built it. Yongmu just pauses, telling him that is exactly what he expected to hear. Now pay attention, because this kid is terrified. He is running as fast as he can, praying that they don't find her. Then he slams right into a massive guy. He stammers out an apology, but when he looks up at that face, pure horror sets in. Sungjun laughs, saying he didn't expect this. They didn't even have to hunt him down, he came right to them. Xian looks over and spots her. Ji is fuming, telling him he is completely finished. He realizes right then that things are about to get ugly. They drag him into a dark basement where G lays down the law. His only job now is to sit there and monitor the app. If he doesn't want to rot in a cage, he better do everything exactly as he is told. He begs her to wait, but she snaps back. They are watching his every move from the outside, so don't even think about trying anything funny. The door slams shut, leaving him trapped in a computer room with one of her thugs. In his head, he knows his life is over. Outside, they are watching him through the glass. Sejun wonders if he is actually a developer because his work speed is honestly pathetic. G explains that they cannot sell the Blue Bow product without his specific program running the show. The man asks if the app is really called I'm Here. How do they sell through that? The name sounds completely stupid. Okay, I know what you're thinking, this kid is toast. A thug shoves Xian into his seat with a blow to the head, forcing the app open. The logo looks like some dating and friend-making app. Yongmu approaches the group, asking if everything is finally ready to go. This program is the beating heart of their Blue Bow empire. Step 1 is simple. They need to harvest customer data. After that, they will own the market. The geolocation sharing feature will be the ultimate weapon for exploding their sales across the city. Sunjun is hyped, realizing they are finally about to move Blue Bow in massive quantities. This is the big break they wanted. Youngmu stares at the candy in his hand and nods. It is time to show this new world what they have got. A new day hits, and the app goes viral instantly. Why? Because they are offering 30,000 won in cashback for every friend you invite. Students everywhere start downloading it. Everyone wants easy money, and some kids are even bullying others just to get more signups. On top of that, everyone who registers gets a free weight loss gift called Blue Bow. The app claims the product is certified, but that is a total lie. By evening, Yongmu's crew is celebrating their massive success. Ji pulls out her phone to check the daily registrations. She has a smirk on her face because the numbers are looking incredible. Sunjun admits Yongmu really knows her stuff. She looks around her rec studio and asks a guy if they have caught the idiot who trashed the place yet. He tells her he checked the security footage, but there is a bat on the screen. She raises an eyebrow, completely confused, and decides to see it for herself. Sure enough, there is a bat in the video. It is staring right into the lens, blocking the entire view. And on the other cameras, there is a rat doing the exact same thing. Ji curses, unable to understand how this is happening, when Sunjun gets a ping. He checks it and tells her to get ready. The latest shipment of Blue Bow has arrived. Meanwhile, Ravs is just walking home from school like nothing happened. He looks at Street, who is struggling to crawl through a hole in the wall, and asks if she is stuck. She immediately apologizes and shifts back to her true form, complaining she gained a bit of weight. He ignores that and asks about the mission from yesterday. She proudly explains that it was not easy, but she uncovered the truth. Yesterday, he was really interested in those candies. He sniffed them and realized they smelled like a devouring flower. Apparently, he woke up right after eating one of those things. Growing a devouring flower without a host is impossible. This plant is actually extinct, even in the demon world. So where did humans find it? And trust me, you're going to want to see this. The candy is called Blue. Trust me. You and I are about to see this poison fed to people. He asks about the ingredients, but she says Blue Bow is made so secretly that finding the source is impossible. His irritable questioning makes her nervous, and she snaps back that he is completely wrong about her. This stuff is selling like crazy, but if they track that demonic energy, they will definitely find the factory. He pokes her forehead, saying she should have let him there earlier, but she claims Bond told her otherwise. He scowls, asking if she is reporting his every single move back to Banbe. She begs for forgiveness, explaining she is just a low-level creature stuck serving both of them. He gives her a choice right now. Is it him or Banbe? Who is her master? She hesitates, but he promises to evolve her beyond being a lesser creature if she chooses his side. She shifts into a noble form, bowing low and swearing an oath of allegiance. He just smirks, accepting her as his servant. The moment his magic touches her, Banbe loses his spiritual connection to her. With a winning grin, our main character tells him to beat it as they head for the factory. They reach the warehouse where Street confirms the demonic energy of the Blue Bow is at its peak. He wants to check the containers, but they are all locked up tight with heavy iron chains. So, he uses brute force. Watch this. He smashes the locks and a horrific stench explodes. The whole container is packed with boxes that smell like death. Street asks if this is all Blue Bow. There are dozens of containers just like it. Suddenly, he remembers a brutal fight with his own uncle. Varen shoves him to the cliff edge, mocking his nephew for being an arrogant, obnoxious, and total weakling. Ravvice calls him a monster, but his uncle says if he won't be a good boy, he should die. He throws a punch that the main character barely blocks, while his uncle just stands there smirking. One massive strike later, and our main character is sent flying off the cliff. Cursing his uncle while falling into the abyss, the old man just laughs and leaps down right after him. Ravvice hits the ground hard, gasping through the pain. Varkin lands nearby and mockingly asks if he is dead. But the uncle stops mid-sentence, eyes widening at something. Ravvice looks and sees a massive pile of demon corpses being eaten by strange, glowing flowers. Looking at the carnage, Ravvice remembers the ancient history of how their world began. Light and dark split, creating two sides that could never coexist. Then, neutral creatures started to grow. At the dawn of time, a flower bloomed where fallen celestials and torn demons were tossed aside. This flesh-eating flower only wanted total world destruction. So, they burned every body and bloom they found. The main character was sure they had turned every last one of them to ash. Street adds that the Overlord supposedly wiped them out of the demon world. So where did all these flowers come from? Ravvice explains that this deadly flower actually started right here in the human world. You and I must remember, this middle world is where light and dark mix together into a murky cocktail. Human legends claim they were all killed thousands of years ago, but that was a lie. If they are appearing in both worlds now, it means someone is pulling the strings for a reason. Street stops, sensing something close by. A flashlight suddenly cuts through the dark, forcing them to turn around. A guy steps out, asking whose voices he is hearing and if they know where they have trespassed. He recognizes the main character, calling out to Jay that it is the idiot from the tattoo parlor. Street identifies the girl as G. G shouts in anger, asking what the hell he is doing there. She demands to know why he trashed her salon. He just asks if she is the one running this. She curses and admits it. He asks if she even knows the truth about what is inside. She grins, asking if he is trying to steal secrets. He sighs, not really caring, but feeling uneasy. G asks her crew if they messed up. You and I know exactly what Young Moo does to failures. She hands out special rations of Blue Bow. The guys are thrilled, asking if it is really free. She orders them to eat silently. Watch out for the next part. Alright, you and I are diving into the chaos as our main character tells Street to stay hidden while the thugs gorge themselves on those candies. She doesn't hesitate and runs for the container. Suddenly, the blue bows kick in, sending these guys into a blind rage. G points right at Ravvice, screaming for them to end him on the spot. They toss the rappers in charge, but he just calls them total idiots. Blinded by their own ego, they have no idea what they've stepped into. He just beckons them to bring it on. Demonic energy is thick in the air. One thug lunges with a knife, but he slips the blade and counters hard. Before he can breathe, another guy swings a heavy kick his way. He pivots, nails a guy right in the chin, but as he turns, someone else locks him in a tight grip. Ravvice is actually stuck. He spits a curse as the guy lets out a roar, tossing him overhead and slamming him into the dirt. Then the heavy hitter drops a brutal knee on him. While Street is panicking, G is absolutely loving the show. These maniacs laugh, raining down blows from every side. He is forced on the defensive, realizing these guys are legit strong. Did they double the dose since the last time they fought? Now watch this play, you are gonna love it. He punches a box open, rips out a bag of powder, and swings it hard, spraying the stuff directly into their eyes. They start choking instantly. Ravvice catches a whiff of the stuff too, and hates that absolute garbage stench. But because of the evil inside, that demonic power starts reacting with pure fury. As they try to recover, the main character hits them with everything he has got. He drops one guy and pummels his face. He ducks another swing, grabs the guy's leg, and slams him into the floor like a rag doll. He snaps a knee joint with a brutal kick before the big guy tries to pin him down. But Ravvice is too fast. He lands a kick, slips behind him, and grabs his shoulders with crushing force. He slams the giant onto his back. G is stunned. How is he taking them all on alone? She flinches as he stands. That piercing gaze terrifies her, making her scream out in shock. Meanwhile, the ballet competition finally kicks off. Yura starts her routine while her mother, Kong Yanju, watches the broadcast from home. She is convinced her daughter's talent will land her a spot in the Venus Ballet troupe without any trouble. Young Moo and his assistant stroll in like they own the place. She is offended, demanding to know who these strangers are. How dare they just walk in? Do they have any idea whose home they are invading? He places a jar of candy on the table, explaining there is a huge order for Blue Bow, so he brought it himself. She eyes the jar, asking if these are the same candies. Young Moo just wonders why she is so stressed out. He claims they control the whole supply chain, so it is fine. But she is still worried about potential problems. He smirks, thinking it is a bit late for questions. After all, she already drugged her daughter and sent her on stage. Hanju watches the screen as her daughter spins uncontrollably, fueled by the candy's dark influence. She starts moving too fast. Hanju gets nervous when she sees the girl starting to drool. You and I can see where this is going. Her eyes roll back as her body starts to shake. Young Moo says she pushed too hard. How many did she give her? Yura freezes mid-pose, looking sick, as Hanju screams for her to stop as if she can hear her. Right then, her leg twists sickeningly. She collapses instantly, totally motionless. The audience screams in terror as security rushes onto the stage. Hanju breaks down, lashing out at Youngmu because he promised there would be no side effects. He tells her that only applies if you follow the dose. Now, her daughter is officially beyond saving. She only survives now by feeding her delusions with more of this. She stares at the jar in horror. He tells her she is hooked for life, but she screams, clutching her head in agony. Does he know how much she gave her? Youngmu just smiles as his phone starts ringing. It is G. He picks up the video call, asking what is up, while she looks absolutely terrified and apologizes. Then Ravvice hijacks the camera, asking if he is the one making the blue bows. Youngmu's eyes go wide when he recognizes him. They need to talk. The call ends, and Youngmu leaves the woman with a dark look, citing urgent business. Back at the fight, Street wonders why anyone would ever eat this garbage. The main character says it is pure stupidity and ego. They are all arrogant enough to think they won't get addicted. You and I can see they have nothing left to believe in, so they cling to these pathetic trifles. Alright, you and I are diving into a world where a simple tattoo shop is just a cover for something demonic. Watch closely. It is about to get wild. Was he actually looking for him? Ravi makes it clear that he is not interested in talking at all, but he is curious about where he got that thing. How could a pathetic little human possess something like that? Youngmu eyes widen at the insult, wondering if this idiot in front of him is actually like him too. He grew up with a father addicted to nasty things, who got his son hooked too. Youngmu asks if the man is finally asleep yet. He just wants his father to give him more of that substance. When his father doesn't respond, he kicks him over and sees those lifeless eyes. Was the old man actually dead? He curses, angry that his dad died while eating that trash all his life. Now that he is gone, where will he get his fix? He starts kicking the body in a blind rage, shouting curses, until suddenly his father's eyes light up again. Seeing this, he immediately stops and calls out to his father, trembling in pure fear. His father slowly stands up, but it is a demon who has taken over his body. The creature asks if his death made him sad. He stares in confusion as the demon offers to bring his father back to life if that is what he truly wants. He grins, exclaiming that he is happy the old man is finally dead. He does not need that trash anymore. Now, watch this part carefully. The demon hands him a flower and tells him to feed his father's body to this plant to seal their deal. By doing this, they will form a contract, and he will finally get exactly what he has been craving. And if anyone betrays him or rejects the devouring flower, he must kill them. The contract will keep him safe. Youngmu stares at the flower before swinging it into his father's body with a wide, maddened smile on his face. Youngmu sneers, asking if he looks like a pathetic human. Ravi notes that the guy is hiding a dangerous trump card. He confirms that the creature gave him a new life. Ravi realizes it is obvious he made a contract with a demon. Ravi flexes his wrist and says he doesn't care what nonsense he believes. He is just sorry for both him and that idiot demon. Youngmu explodes in anger, asking how he dares to insult him like that. He orders his men to capture the brat, while Street quickly runs away so she doesn't get in her master's way. These constant fights are starting to annoy Ravi, so he decides to end this quickly. Meanwhile, Hyanu's daughter heads to the hospital. School kids are meeting couriers to get their hands on the candy, and some have already taken things way too far. Stick with me here. After the app launched, orders flooded in, and the Blue Bow became incredibly popular everywhere. Sunjun says they will easily snag VIP clients nationwide. His friend asks if they are about to become a global corporation. It seems Youngmu already paved the way for China and Japan. Sunjun thinks the guy is seriously cool. While they chat, Xian sits in the room monitoring the app, feeling the weight of it all. He blames himself for how fast this nastiness is spreading, praying for someone to finally put an end to it. You saw that too, right? Ravi just absolutely wrecked those goons without even breaking a sweat. Ravi asks when the master will show up, but he stays silent, remembering their deadly agreement from before. If anyone rejects the devouring flower, he must kill them. He takes out 3 candies and silently vows to Hilt to do that. Ji exclaims that she doesn't think he is just an ordinary high school student. Maybe he is a rival. Ravi looks on in confusion as Youngmu suddenly attacks, but he quickly reacts and stops his hand. Youngmu strikes while Ravi defends himself perfectly. He notices that this guy is on a completely different level of speed compared to the other idiots he fought. Youngmu asks how he is blocking him. Did he receive a blessing too? He claims he should be the only one his god favors. Ravi finally understands. That devouring flower and the vile stench? The god he follows is actually Hilt. Youngmu is shocked he knows that name. Ravi scoffs, saying nobody would believe in such an insignificant idiot. Enraged, Youngmu tells him not to insult the one who actually took pity on him. Ravi smirks, asking how pathetic he must be to seek help from a rat hiding in the shadows. He screams that Ravi shouldn't even dare to speak that name. His blows become even more furious and chaotic now. Still defending himself, Ravi thinks about how high Hilt has risen since he exterminated their entire race. Back then, he was the only one who cowardly fled, and now he is here receiving honors from humans. And that's where we leave it, trust me, you and I won't want to miss what happens next. Alright, you and I are about to see our main character face a monster with the world's worst breath. Young Mew lunges forward, screaming that anyone who dares to disrespect Lord Bauer is going to die right here. He slams into the main character, driving a knee into his gut before tossing him onto the cold, hard ground. Ravvice is pinned, gasping in pain as he watches a massive fist coming straight for his face. Time to defend. Young Mew is screaming about Lord Bauer, but the main character sees the truth. This idiot has already lost his mind, thanks to all that demonic energy. He's going for the kill. Young Mew screams one last time, his eyes glowing with a terrifying, otherworldly light. Street is watching from the shadows, terrified. She knows the main character's human body is reaching its absolute breaking point. If they were back in the demon world, this fight would have been over already. Meanwhile, the main character's uncle and his companion are watching the chaos. Banbe notes that the flower-devouring experiment seems to have finally taken full control over him. Even with the demon stone, Ravvice is still trapped in a weak human body. If he loses this battle, his soul will be erased and destroyed for all eternity. Varkin just smiles and asks if they know what his nephew hates more than anything else in the entire world. The answer is pretty much everything. Let's be real, Ravvice doesn't exactly have a winning personality. They joke about who he takes after, but Varkan just looks away, not wanting to admit the obvious truth. Now watch this, because Ravvice has a serious case of mysophobia. He absolutely cannot stand anything dirty. The main character catches a punch with pure fury, complaining that the air around them is totally disgusting. Young Mu is confused, but the main character is just repulsed by the foul stench coming off this guy. He pulls back, retreating just to get away from the filth. Even though it's just his left hand, the main character finally feels like he has control again. He glares at his opponent, refusing to touch that filthy body for even 1 second longer than he has to. He's ending this right now. He steps in and lands a brutal punch that sends Young Mu's head snapping back in shock. You and I both knew he was hiding a secret. He's not human, and his next punch is powerful enough to send the guy flying several meters away. Young Mu stands up, cursing and wondering what kind of monster he's actually dealing with here. Ravvice closes the gap instantly, telling the guy to shut his filthy, disgusting mouth. He launches the guy into the air with ease. Varkan notes that the terrible stench must have triggered a massive headache for Ravvice when he finally woke up. It's hard for him to even get close because Ravvice hates dirt and grime more than anything. That extreme mysophobia is actually what forces his true demonic power to awaken. His companion wonders if a human body can even handle that kind of raw, ancient power. Usually, using demon world energy in a sinner's body is impossible, even with a demon bloodstone. Varkan just smiles. To him, Ravvice is special. No matter what, that kid is a true warrior. Another hit sends Young Mu crashing into crates. The main character tells him he's lucky to be alive. In this weak body, he actually isn't allowed to kill him just yet. Young Mu is trapped and desperate. He's pinned against the wall, but he suddenly spots a box nearby and gets a dangerous idea that makes him smile. He reaches for more powder, but the main character grabs his wrist and warns him to stop. He's going to deliver a beating he won't ever forget. He readies his stance, locking his right hand onto his left wrist before pouncing. All the opponent can do is stand there and watch in pure horror. He delivers a devastating blow that shatters everything in its path before calmly stepping back. It's over. Young Mu is out cold with his head stuck in a crate. With a heavy sigh, the main character pulls a handkerchief from his pocket and covers his nose. Finally, that disgusting stench has subsided just a little bit. Meanwhile, Xian is watching the app stats and losing his mind. This isn't what he wanted. To him, school is a place where every interaction is fake and everything is already decided. To survive, you have to pretend to like or hate people without any real friendship. He only ever wanted to help those who were genuinely looking for each other. He didn't build this system to sell garbage like this. He pulls himself together, crashing the servers with everything he's got. Outside, the people watching are stunned as the screens suddenly flash with a server error. So stick with me, because this story is just getting started as he barricades that door. Alright, you and I are about to see what happens when a bullied genius finally pushes back against his tormentors as they bang on the door. Xian races back to the computer to wipe the app, while Sunjun screams at his friends to get in. He slams the emergency button just as a chair comes crashing through the glass window with a deafening shatter. Sunjun bursts in and decks the boy right in the face. He is absolutely livid, screaming at the top of his lungs about what the kid is doing. While the beating continues, the other guys realize the idiot actually managed to crash the entire server. Sunjun panics, shouting to kill the process now because if Youngmu finds out, they are all dead meat. The guy freezes up. He is shaking and has no clue which button to even press. Xian knows he has to hold out until the deletion finishes. He grabs a sharp glass shard and slashes the man's leg with everything he has got. He scrambles across the room, desperate to find a weapon, and grabs a heavy fire extinguisher. He screams that the app belongs to him before spraying the room with white dust. It blinds the bullies, buying him just enough time for the deletion to hit 100%. He gets distracted for just a second while checking the monitor to see if the deletion worked. Sunjun pounces like a predator, grabbing him by the throat and slamming him down. He roars at the others to find something to tie the brat up. The others are just coughing from the dust, unable to even move a muscle. As Sunjun chokes the life out of him, Xian feels his fingers digging into his arm and wonders if this is his end. Is this his limit? Then, a terrifying voice cuts through the air, asking how they dare touch his servant. Now pay attention here, because the predator just became the prey as Ravvice grabs him. A blood-curdling scream erupts, making the other guys turn in absolute terror. As the dust clears, they see the schoolboy being handled like a rag doll. They immediately rush in to try and help their friend. The main character charges. He drops both of them with ease, asking where they thought they were going with his only servant. He would rather die than give up what belongs to him. Xian looks up, remembering the day he first told him the secret about his special application. He explained it was a place for people to communicate and share locations, or even start study groups if they lived close by. Minho was impressed that he built it himself. Then he pointed to a big red button and asked what it did. Xian looked away, feeling guilty. He confessed he felt terrible for being unable to help the last time the gang dragged him away. Truth is, he could not find where they took him. That is exactly why he built this emergency feature. If he presses this button, his location will only be sent to selected friends. He promised that if it ever happened again, he would come to the rescue at any cost, whether calling the police or gathering allies. Minho just smiled and thanked him, promising that he would definitely download the app right away. And yeah, I know what you were thinking. This friendship just reached a whole new level as he showed him the signal. He realized the signal actually reached him. Looking at the app, he burst into tears and thanked him for the help. Outside, Street is trying her best to hold G back. The girl keeps struggling, but Street tells her to just stand still. When Lord Ravvice finally emerges from the basement, Street gets distracted, and G manages to slip right through her fingers. Street starts to chase after her, but the main character tells her to stop. He does not need her anymore. He looks at the sky, thinking about those devouring flowers he found. They have been completely destroyed now. Meanwhile, the warehouse is swallowed by flames as firefighters and police rush to the scene. One of the officers, Park Young-in, looks around to assess the chaos and spots several beaten men lying unconscious on the ground near the trees. Ravvice heads home while Minho follows, looking totally confused by the strange girl walking along with them. The main character realizes he was being used by Banbe and his uncle. Revenge is definitely on the menu when he returns. Xian asks if he needs a hospital, but the main character just says he is too lazy for that. Xian smiles and thanks Minho. He only pressed the emergency button as a last resort, never expecting him to actually show up. He claims it was just an accident, but Street cannot help but laugh out loud at that. She whispers, asking if he really expects anyone to believe it was an accident. She clearly heard him shouting on the street earlier today. She threatened that if this was not the way to their lair, the girl would end up looking exactly like her beaten friends. G wonders if he did all this because Xian is his friend. That is why he did not show up for school. G screams that if it was not for his friend, then why even bother? The main character just checks his phone signal. Trust me, you and I both know he did not do this by accident. Relationships are complicated, right? Stick with me, because this demon is not planning on returning home soon. This boy is staring at Lord Ravvice like a hero who saved his life. Xian looks at Street and asks, who is the person with him? The main character answers, her? That is his subordinate, Street. Xian is confused. Since when did he have subordinates? Is that Minho? He wants to ask something, but he is hesitant. How did he change so much so fast? And this girl is wearing such bizarre clothes. He shivers with excitement, thinking Minho must have joined some powerful gang. He just hopes Minho hasn't gone bad. Little does he know, everyone will soon be hunting his new servant. The main character says they can't hide it forever. Exactly. That is exactly what he was thinking. He is Ravvice Vindika, the son of the great demon king who descended from the demon world. Xian just stares, totally lost. The main character tells him that now that he knows, he will have to help with the family business. Alright, pay attention here. Xian shouts, the demon king's son? What nonsense, then screams at what he sees. Street is right there on his lap, in her cat form, rubbing against him like it is nothing. The main character tells Street to explain, since he is exhausted from fighting all day. Street just purrs in agreement. She tells him to listen closely. Xian stares at the talking cat in pure horror before passing out cold. Later, a guy reports that he is taking everyone and heading to the station first. Young Mu just looks down, cursing. He could have killed him right then. Detective Cha turns around and asks, who exactly is this guy? It is an unauthorized entry. The robed man orders silence, shoves the detective to the ground, and just keeps walking. Bauer walks up to the car and mocks the pathetic-looking child inside. Young Mu screams out for Mr. Bauer. Bauer tells him to leave, and they will talk. Meanwhile, Yoongun sees a message that all the drug dealers were neutralized. Who did this? This mind-altering candy is everywhere, even in schools. She calls them complete idiots for distributing something so dangerous. She sees the detective struggling to get up from the ground. He says his head is splitting. Yoongun runs over, screaming for Detective Cha. The detective just tells her to check the car immediately. You and I are about to see a real mystery. Yoongun looks in the car and screams, "Where did that idiot go?" Young Moo is begging for mercy. If he gives him any more chances, he might actually end up killing the guy. Bauer asks if he knows the value of those burned flowers. He suffered so much just to collect those people. He shouldn't have trusted such pathetic people with his precious, valuable flowers. Young Mew begs for one more shot at destroying that idiot. Instead, Bauer hits him directly with the flower. He screams loudly as he hits the ground, clutching his eye. Bauer asks if he remembers the blood oath he made to him. He demands he prove his loyalty with that flower. Meanwhile, Ji knows she has to survive this nightmare. She just needs that crypto wallet to get out of there. But where is it hiding? A guy enters, mentioning the police were at the office, so he decided to check here. He ended up finding her exactly as expected. Ji screams, wondering what he is doing. The guy looks distraught and claims she did something to his forehead. He is demanding more candy. Ji realizes he's a total psycho who has clearly eaten way too much of it. She grabs a stick and yells at him to stay back, but he strikes her hard in the stomach. Ji collapses on the floor in pain. The guy's eyes roll in different directions as he demands she give him that candy. He screams about a blue bow. Ji starts crying, terrified of dying in such a horrible, senseless way. His face dissolves into black mana as a voice echoes. Ravvice is definitely not going to like this. Ji asks who he is and begs him to save her. Bonet tells her she does not have the strength left and must accept her fate if she is going to hell. Ji just gasps, calling it a nightmare. Banbe says he will leave her body behind. Later, Eni welcomes her younger brother, Varkon, back. After sending Ravvice to the human world, it seems he had a plan. How dare he do that to her son? Varkon asks if they found out about him yet. No need to worry so much, since Ravvice is already an adult. She thinks he went empty-handed, but he hid a powerful demon bloodstone in his body. Eni screams in shock. A demon bloodstone? Has he completely lost his mind? Does he want to tell the whole world that the Demon King's son is alone? Trust me, you and I need to see what happens next. Alright, you and I are back, as Anise claims it's not that she doesn't trust Ravvice. She's terrified of this unstable world, where even the tiniest crack could bring the whole thing crashing down around them. Varkon crosses his arms, insisting his sister underestimates Ravvice. He's a warrior through and through, boasting incredible raw fighting power. Anise decks him right in the head, screaming that his stupidity is the problem. If Ravvice's soul gets damaged, they are both dead. Does he even get it? Varkon just yells back. How old is he now, and she's still punching his head? He tells Bonet to scour every magic book. He's desperate to find a way to get rid of every older sister on Earth. Anise just tells him to shut up. She has zero use for a brother as delusional as him. Bonet tries to play peacemaker while Anise grabs Varkon's neck. He's shocked that Ravvice actually survives under these insane conditions. After a bit, Xian whispers that the guy's a demon. Our main character just shrugs, that is what people call them. Street looks pleased while Xian's mind starts racing. Now that he knows the truth, is he going to hell when he dies? Ravvice tells him hell is already here, but in the demon world, nobody would ever dare lay a finger on him. As the only heir to the Demon King, Ravvice is the master here. Xian freaks out, screaming he doesn't need that protection. Now listen closely because this is where our main character gets dark. He vows to gouge out Bon's eyes the moment he's home. Xian nervously asks what happened to the real Minho. Street replies that he was destined for death. Officially, they only inhabit bodies that are essentially empty dungeons. Xian bites his lip, fighting back tears. Why? Why was Minho the one who had to die like that? The main character asks why he's so upset. They'll all live a few more decades and reunite in the demon world eventually. Xian groans. So it's basically a settled deal that he's ending up in the demon world. Ravvice laughs, saying humans have wild imaginations. The demon world is fun, right, Street? She agrees, calling it exactly that. Screams and torn flesh fill the air back home. Their land is completely soaked in the metallic scent of blood. Xian begs her to stop. The main character says that's far off, so just act normal and keep your mouth shut. Xian fearfully agrees. The main character sighs, mentioning that his entire body is starting to ache all over again. He heads off, and Street follows. Once home, he grips his head in pain. It feels like his skull is splitting open. You and I can tell he pushed the demon bloodstone's power too far. Suddenly, Mina's joyful voice rings out. She brings in a cake with a glowing candle, shouting happy birthday. The main character freezes. His birthday? She and Mom worked tirelessly on it since yesterday. Though, she admits, she can't exactly promise it'll taste good. She pops a party hat on him, saying parents are coming soon. Then, she pulls out her phone for a quick selfie. He spots the bandage on her face and asks what happened. Mina just gives him a little smile. Some punks were harassing an old lady, so she stepped in. No big deal. Ravvice thinks she's just wasting her time. He thinks she's weak but weird for helping others. Mina tells her brother to eat since he's probably starving. She shoves a spoonful of cake into his mouth. Instantly, his eyes go wide with total shock. He's never tasted anything like this. Soft, white, and so sweet. He covers his face, closing his eyes in pure bliss. Suddenly, a nightmare of a scream erupts. A man demands to know who threw those eggs at him. He's going to kill every last one of them. His assistant can only nod in fear. Tasik spins around and strikes the assistant instead, screaming that he'll kill him first for failing to stop the eggs. Jui tries to hold him back, but he hits her and orders her to let go. Mina screams for him to stop. Tasik snaps at her. Then he spots the cake on the table and asks what the hell it is. He's home covered in eggs from a failed campaign. And they're eating cake? He shoves Mina, saying they've lost all fear. He smashes the cake off the table, screaming. If he were their real father, could they even swallow a single bite? Jui begs him to stop through her tears. She cries out that today is actually Minho's birthday. He scoffs. Who cares about a birthday in a disaster like this? The main character watches coldly as Tasik storms out, slamming the door. He looks at the mess that was his cake. The man actually dared to touch it. Jui breaks down, begging for her children to be forgiven. Mina hugs her tightly, saying it's not her fault. The main character narrows his eyes. That man is far too arrogant. Stick around, because you and I are about to see Tasik realize his money train, young Mu, has gone totally silent. Alright, you and I are about to witness how power is bought, starting with a paid photo op with Deputy Park. The men report back that they'll do everything to find that idiot young Mu, no matter what it takes. Tai is already fuming. He hates bowing to idiots for ratings, especially when those idiots act like total jerks. Suddenly, an assistant bursts in, shouting that there is some big news. Mina's video is breaking the internet. Tai is stunned, wondering what other video could be out there. The tablet shows a guy grabbing Mina's face while she screams in pain. Little did he know, she recorded the entire attack herself. Mina throws his hand off and snaps. Who do these people think they are to mock a grandmother just to show off? The guy calls her a crazy brat and demands they get out. He wants everyone gone right now. Mina ignores him, checking if the elderly woman is okay. The grandmother is shaking but deeply grateful. Tai asks if anything happened to his daughter. The assistant confirms she's fine and the video is exploding. The public just found out she's his daughter, and the comments are going wild. His ratings are skyrocketing. Teak grins, realizing his plan is coming together perfectly. This lucky break is exactly what he needed. Now pay attention, things shift from a political drama to horror as creepy figures watch Mina for something sinister. The woman calls Mina her mom's new vessel. Hansu agrees, admitting the girl is truly beautiful. Han looks thoughtful, making Yeonju wonder if she's jealous of the girl's looks. Han just remains cold. This girl's face is exactly what mom wants for her new body. Human skin just withers too fast. Human bodies become wrinkled and ugly, but this vessel is perfect. Hansu calls her a beautiful new doll. He wonders what kind of sound she'll make when he finally breaks her. Soon, every news channel is reporting on the brave high schooler who saved a grandmother. The hero is his daughter. Research shows they've officially regained first place in the polls. The assistant delivers the news with excitement. Victory in the election is basically a lock. Tonight at 9 o'clock, the full video will air for everyone to see. The 9 o'clock news? Tiak can't believe his luck. That girl's nonsense actually brought him this much political power. He decides it's time to play the family man. They need to organize charity events to keep the hype going. Every move will be in Mina's name. The assistant nods, but then mentions a call from Nox Company. Han Yeonju from Nox is on the line. Teak is confused. Why is a huge company like Nox calling him? They're interested because of Mina's video. It turns out she is a literal goldmine for them. Later, Xion admits he had no idea Mina's stepfather was the man running for mayor this whole time. The MC asks how well the candidate knows Minho's family. Xion tries to piece the connection together. Minho was private, but it was clear he and the candidate got along. More importantly, he cherished his sister. The MC repeats the word cherished. His uncle always told him to protect anyone useful for his power. He thinks about how noisy Varkon is. Meanwhile, Ravi stops and looks up, sensing something strange. I know what you're thinking, a demon in a wall? Street sticks out of a crack, claiming she just ate too much. Are all demon world entrances this cramped? What did Banbe say? Street hands over a note since Banbe wasn't there. It says his recent work has been good. Banbe wants him to catch Bauer at the same time. He is even sending a gift to help. Ravvice tears the note to shreds, absolutely furious. He won't be used by that idiot and plans to finish him first. Xion looks at the news showing Tai as the leading candidate. The momentum is completely in his favor. He wonders if the girl's father will actually become the next mayor at this rate. Public opinion is on his side. The MC asks if a man like that will swallow the city. Xian says he'll take total control. Ravvice notes that his greed smells just like a Cinerus demon. He suspects Jung Tasik might be a Cinerus hiding in this hellish human world. Xian is shocked. Cinerus are gluttonous demons that never stop eating. Even the residents of the demon world despise them. Ravvice rules this district, but Jung Tasik is just a human. Or at least, that is what he seems. If someone like that becomes a ruler, then this human world is even more rotten than I thought. So what do you and I think? Is this world already too far gone to save? Alright, you and I are about to watch a brother fight to save his sister from a total monster. Jung Tasik wants to use Mina, and Minho is not having it. Our main character is deep in thought about the siblings. Back home, a voice breaks the silence. What is going to happen to Mina now? Yeonju speaks up. The girl has incredible looks, and she has already mastered the basics of dance. She is ready to debut and could even take the center spot. But Jui points out that Mina is just a schoolgirl who never even asked to be a celebrity. Tasik shoots her a look. Darling, you do not need to say stuff like that in front of the principal, he snaps. The child has natural talent, and hiding it would be a huge mistake. He apologizes to the director, claiming his wife is just a bit too timid. The main character steps closer as Jui looks up. Yeonju tells her not to worry. At the Nox agency, they will help her balance both her studies and her career. Today's idols are not like the old school ones anymore. They can be superstars and still get into top universities. Ravvice watches Hanu closely tracking Mina, wondering what this guy's deal really is. Tasik flips open the contract folder. So, does he just need to sign right here, on the dotted line? Yeonju nods. Yes, this is the document that will change Mina's future. It is a formal contract with the famous Nox agency. Mina freezes up. She sits there with her head down, completely stiff. Now, pay attention, because Yeonju finally notices the main character and asks if he is Mina's brother. She introduces herself as Han Yeonju, the representative of Nox. The main character stays silent, making Tasik yell out in anger. Jung Minho, are you seriously not going to say hello to our guest? Yeonju just laughs it off, saying kids these days are all like that. But Minho knows he has to protect Mina at all costs. He remembers Barkin's words. Ravvice is always on his side. Then, the main character suddenly screams out. Barkin tells him to listen. This world is crawling with enemies who want to steal the power of the true ruler. But he is the heir who must carry on the will of the world's ruler, Gamdad's brother. He carries a massive responsibility, so he has to bring his people together for the cause. Ravvice argues back, saying he can handle everything alone. Barkin just laughs. Let him talk tough for now. But one day, he will meet people who actually touch his heart. Then, he won't even notice how much he has changed. Ravvice just mutters that he hates these heavy talks. He suggests they just go practice instead. Barkin laughs, calling him his nephew. The main character puts a hand on his sister's shoulder. Young Mina, is this what you really want? Mina looks up, whispering his name. He tells her if she is being forced, she needs to speak up. He will handle it. Mina looks down as memories of her mother being hit by Tasik flash back. He screamed at her for trying to leave after he took them in. He called her ungrateful. He grabbed her by the hair, shouting that she could never take the kids since they were on his family register. Jui begged him to stop. He dared her to leave, mocking how she would survive without a single penny to her name. Mina stepped in, shouting that they have the inheritance from Grandpa. It does not belong to their uncle. I know what you are thinking, this guy is the worst. Tasik sneers that she is just like her mother, completely clueless about how the real world works. He grabbed Jui's face, telling her to never let go of what is in her hands. Back in the present, Mina finally speaks. She will do it because she wants to, but only if the money goes into her own name. She is determined to free her mother and brother from this devil. Tasik is surprised by the condition, but agrees since it is her effort. Mina, that is a given, he says. Yeonju suggests they sign the contract right now. This is the moment. Tasik asks the director to look after Mina, lying that she is more important than his own life. Jui asks if she is sure. Mina smiles, telling her mom to believe in her, and she thanks her brother for his concern. He just looks at her silently. Later, in the car, Yeonju says Mina looks more perfect the more she sees her. Her look, her gaze, and that rare innocence, she loves everything about the girl. But Hanu mentions that Jung Minho seems really unusual to him. Yeonju asks him what he thinks. Is there something off about the boy? He says the brother has a strange aura, like he is not even human. Yeonju laughs, wondering if he is some kind of stalker from the demon world or something. Hanu asks if he should just take care of that guy right now for her. Yeonju says no, it is too early. Acting too fast could cause big problems while they are watching. The focus is on Mina. Hanu screams in total frustration, wanting to tear that idiot to pieces. Wait for the moonless night. You and I both know things are about to get dark. Alright. You and I are about to see how a ritual turns Mina into a puppet. Hanu just grinned, asking if his mom really promised he could do anything with her. Yeonju answered that of course she did, calling it a gift. She promised her son, but the mood shifted when Han asked about Mara. Yeonju's eyes went wide with shock. She demanded that Hanyang never speak that name again. From now on, she isn't Mara, she is Hanju. The past is buried. Now, she'll be reborn as Jungmina. Neither the Great Demon King nor the 12 Black Thrones can stop her. This time, failure simply isn't an option for her. A little later, Mina stood before the agency building, taking a deep breath. She told herself she could do this, as she stepped inside the lobby. Once inside, Yeonju called for everyone's attention. She wanted to introduce Mina, the newest member of their family. She's joining the agency and starting her journey right now. Surely everyone has seen her on social media by now? Mina is set to be the center of their agency's brand new group, Zara. One girl frowned, asking the director how this could happen so suddenly. This was a total shock to the entire team of trainees standing there. She had been training for that center position all this time. Yeonju just replied that Hyan had worked very hard, but things have changed. Watch this. Because the disrespect here is real. Yeonju says Mina is the center now, so Hyan should just help her out. She wished Mina luck and then walked out. Is this just her dad's connections? Hayan snapped. She asked if Mina was just some mayoral candidate's daughter getting a free ride to the very top. It must be nice to just use connections to get ahead of everyone. Mina just stole the position Hyan worked 4 years for. She threatened to quit entirely if they didn't give her the center spot back immediately. Mina tried to explain, but Hayan wasn't listening and slapped her across the face. She screamed about how Mina had no right to act so innocent now. She'll see how far connections get her once she's ruined. Mina just held her face as blood began to trickle down from the scratch. Yeonju opened her office door and heard Hanu calling it brutal. He pointed at the screen, begging his mother to come see what just happened. Yeonju asked what was wrong, and Hanu yelled that Hyan scratched Mina's face. There was blood everywhere, and the damage was already done. Yeonju was livid, calling Hayan worse than an insect. How dare that girl damage her precious vessel? This was a major setback for her entire plan. You and I both know the main character is watching from the shadows. Meanwhile, the word is out. Mina is debuting with Nox, a seriously famous agency. If they're lucky, they could take over the entire human world. Xian asked Miss Street if she really knew everything that was going on behind the scenes. She replied that she's lived among humans for 200 years. Our main character folded his arms, saying if this was his sister's dream, it was none of his business. But that female director and her followers, they really get on his nerves. Something about them feels completely off and suspicious to him right now. He didn't sense any demonic energy, but he couldn't look away. They might just be demons hiding in plain sight within the human world society. Street explained that older demons are experts at masking their aura. It wouldn't hurt for them to be extra careful while investigating this strange family and their agency. Lord Ravvice, he also needs to stop glaring at everyone while using Minho's body. It's making everyone around him extremely uncomfortable and nervous. Xian agreed, saying nobody likes being looked at like that. Ravvice countered that they were suspicious regardless of how he acted toward them in public. Even without demonic energy, he could still recognize a demon's soul. Xian mentioned he couldn't find any trace of Bauer either, which only added to the mystery. The main character snapped, telling Street to take this guy back to the demon world immediately. He was done dealing with his constant, annoying whining. He told her to throw him into a hellish training camp. Street agreed immediately, while Xian begged him to stop with the empty threats already. He already knows that not just anyone can survive in a place as dangerous as that. He thought that since he can't use the demon bloodstone's power, even weaklings don't respect him. Ravvice asked Street if she found a way to restore its magical energy. Street happily confirmed she had found the solution. As ordered, she discovered the secret to restoring Lord Rav's true magical power once again. He told her to get on it, then ordered her and servant number 1 to investigate Han Yanju and those twins. They needed to know who they were fighting. Street promised it would be done, though she was still puzzled about being called a servant. A bit later, Haeyeon was walking down the street, crying her eyes out. She wiped her tears, whispering that things shouldn't have ended like this. She had spent 4 long years preparing for her big break. Suddenly, she heard a sword's ring behind her and spun around in total terror. She asked who was there as Hanyang walked toward her. Terrified, she asked what was happening and if she had done something wrong to them. She assumed it was about Mina and started apologizing profusely. She was just so angry in the moment and didn't mean to take it that far. Hanyang attacked her without a word, and blood splattered everywhere. He asked why she dared to hit Mina's face when his mother hated that so much. Then, we flash back to a time when a happy couple was walking down the street together. The man patted his wife's head, telling Yeonju she shouldn't be out so late. He was clearly worried about her safety out there. She just smiled, saying he'd already bought chicken for the twins. How could she just sit at home while he did all the work? She wanted to help. Her husband laughed at how cute she was, teasing that she was the one who actually wanted to eat. She just laughed back sweetly at him. But from a nearby sewer manhole, Mara was watching their every move with hungry eyes. Trust me, you and I just witnessed a nightmare. Yeonju woke up screaming as Mara stood over her, laughing about how much she enjoyed this. Alright, you and I are about to dive into a nightmare where a simple scream changes everything forever. Mara tells her not to worry because she will take care of the children. Yeonju realizes she is losing them. Resistance ends as the demon fills her body. Her chilling laughter wakes her husband, who asks what that noise was. He looks at her completely puzzled and calls out to his darling. Yeonju grabs him by the throat and dangles him out the window. As he screams, she asks if this is her husband. He looks disgusting to her. How could anyone live with him? The man screams as tears stream down his face. He gasps out, "Who are you?" She lets go of his neck, asking why a dead man needs answers. He falls, screaming. He crashes below. Mara grabs her stomach and laughs. She declares that this human body finally belongs to her now. Soon, screams echo in the maternity ward. Mara kicks the doctor's face, shrieking about how much this agonizing process hurts. The confused obstetrician asks what she is doing. He tells the woman in labor that she needs to calm down. Mara tells him to shut up and get this abomination out. It is all the fault of that complete idiot, Ines. Pay attention here. The doctor looks at the newborns in total shock and whispers, "It cannot be." Mara clutches her stomach in disgust. She says the body is worthless after childbirth. Everyone is staring at her ruined belly. Hansu reaches out for his mom, but she just kicks him. They stole her magic, so they must pay her back now. How much longer will they crawl? She needs them to grow fast and protect her, at least until she finds a better vessel. Meanwhile, people are talking. They think she is just in shock from her husband's death, but her behavior is getting way too extreme. One girl notes that sympathy has limits. This is not the old Yeonju. Someone asks what happened to the poor kids. The girl replies that she never shows them. It seems like she barely even comes home these days. Another mentions how happy she was to be pregnant. Mara touches a guy's face and asks if he works in television. She wants to know if he knows handsome men. Dark mist pours from her mouth as the terrified man stammers, "Yes." He faints. Mara mocks Ines, noting that even this human hell is full of beautiful things for her to take. You and I can see she is totally unhinged. She vows to kill her enemy. Currently, she is crying like a maniac. Detective Hai Yang was meant to be the star of her idol group. Everyone loved her because she was the best. The detective asks if the victim had any enemies among the other trainees. Maybe a stalker was following her? Mara begins to cough violently. The detective looks concerned and asks the director if she is really okay. Mara admits she is not doing well. Hanu steps in, suggesting to the detective that they should end the meeting early. The director treats her like a daughter. Han suggests the detective should go talk to the other trainees for now. Detective Cha agrees and gets ready to leave. He calls out to Detective Park Young-in to follow him out. She turns and watches the family closely. As soon as the door shuts, a disgusting liquid filled with insects pours from Mara's mouth. She curses the detective for rummaging around. She wonders how much she paid them and why the bosses are allowing this. Hanu tells her the detective will eventually give up. Mara growls that this current body is already starting to rot. She has to hurry. That girl, Haiyang, was bold enough to actually damage her next potential vessel. Hanu hugs her, telling her not to worry. He will have Jong Minha's body ready for her very soon. Mara tells him to start immediately. Elsewhere, people are talking about the crazy news regarding the attack on Haiyang. Hanu interrupts the gossip. He says the world is full of crazy people and maybe she just lost her mind. He mentions the street knife attack on a schoolgirl and says they need to improve the atmosphere for everyone's safety. Everyone starts living in the dorm tomorrow. They need to prepare their things before they arrive at the building. Mina asks if a dorm is really necessary. Hanu asks if she has a reason to refuse him. She did not know that idols living together was mandatory. Mina worries about leaving her mother and brother alone. Han nods and says she wants too much. If she refuses to comply, then she will belong to him instead. Hanu grabs her shoulders and tells her to relax. He mentally wonders what she could possibly even try to do. If she scratches her face, his mom will kill her. He tells Mina to understand that the director loved Haiyang. She is sensitive right now, so he tells her to just obey that ugly girl and keep her mouth shut. Trust me, you and I see the trap. The principal informed the parents, so the girls agree to pack their things. All right, you and I are jumping back into the story of a sister worried about her changing brother. Screams suddenly erupt from the house as Xion pushes his body to the limit with heavy dumbbells. Ravvice watches him, noting that his training is actually working and his demonic energy is finally strengthening. However, even with that energy, facing a powerful demonic beast will be impossible because Banbe is a total idiot. If he wanted to help, he should have taught Xion how to control the demon bloodstone. Recently, Banbe lay in bed, realizing he needed to write down exactly how to control the demon bloodstone. He wrote a note to his friend Ravvice, offering 2 gifts to help him while he is still weak. Originally, the demon bloodstone was designed to control the magic of various creatures. He modified the stone to transfer his entire soul power into a human body, and this massive energy will only be fully unleashed when the demon bloodstone is finally shattered. Banbe cheered, realizing it would only break if the kid took a heavy punch to the eye. He continued writing about the second gift, sending the child and asking for forgiveness and love. He needs to protect their friend, and Banbe thinks he just needs to get this letter into Ravvice's hands. But watch this, our main character just tears the secret letter to shreds. As Ravvice trains, he wonders if the letter held any secrets, until Street suddenly screams out that they are in major trouble. The main character stares at her, asking why she is running on 2 legs and what is wrong. Street explains that director Han Yeonju is actually Mara, while the main character asks what is going on with the twins. Mara is the Witch of Greed and one of the 12 Black Barons. Street screamed in total terror. It seems she took over a human body to hide, and the main character just smirks at the discovery. The girl gushes over the demon world goddess, wondering how someone can be so beautiful even when her lips are silent. Inez replies that to become truly beautiful, one must first learn how to speak the truth. The girl is delighted, claiming every word Inez speaks is as beautiful as the singing of birds. Since she only speaks the truth, it means she will only become more stunning over time. Another girl mentions how she forces her daughter to master the art of insults just to be like Lady Inez, teaching the child that words are both a weapon and a sign of true dignity. Inez reaches out her hands toward them with a calm smile. She bestows a blessing of eloquence upon them, and the girl cries out in joy to thank Lady Inez. Mara watches with pure disgust, calling it nonsense, even as the girl tries to compliment her beauty too. Mara thanks her coldly and decides to give the girl's daughter a dark blessing of her own. She curses the girl to die in a mess of bloody desires, leaving the poor child shaking in fear. Mara knows the girl will remember those words, while Street continues to explain the situation to Ravvice. Now, pay attention, Ravvice explains that Mara has felt inferior to Lady Inez since they were children. His mother did not care at all, because Mara was caught stealing the source of demonic souls right after joining the 12 Dark Dukes, forcing her to flee straight into this human hell. Xian adjusts his glasses, wondering why this specific witch would ever target someone like Mina. The main character doubts Mara knows his true identity, since she definitely would have attacked him by now if she did. In his current human body, he is no match for her, and her children are likely powerful as well. Street suggests they must strengthen the demon bloodstone immediately and begins the preparations. The first stage of their witch hunt begins with cleansing the entire area. At the store, Jui tells Mina she can quit now, feeling uneasy because trouble seems to follow them whenever they enter that place. Mina smiles and tells her mom it is okay, since the police say the culprit will be caught soon. It was apparently a random murder without any clear motive. Mina looks at the dog food, thinking her dream of becoming a veterinarian is still a long way off. She wants to rescue her mother from that hellish house, smiling as she explains that dreams change, and she will soon become both rich and famous with this new chance. Jui worries that if Mina lives in a dorm, they will hardly ever see each other anymore. Mina tells her not to worry, believing her stepfather will calm down after the elections. Jui sadly admits that if she had not remarried, they would not have to suffer through all of this. Mina comforts her mother for the hard years spent raising 2 kids alone, but stick with me, because their world is about to change forever. Alright, you and I are about to see what happens when a tragic past meets a literal nightmare. It was not her fault their dad died. Besides, that man treated them so well before the wedding, both of them were totally deceived. Jui smiled at Mina, telling her mom to just wait a little longer. She is going to try. Soon, loud screams echo through the park while the main character calls them weak. What is so scary? Xian asks if Minho is throwing up like that because he belongs to the demon race. The main character yells that he just ate some bad food. Xian tells him to clean his face first. And why go skating anyway? Ravvice screams it was a nightmare and he is never sitting down again. Soon, they find a building surrounded by dead trees. The main character asks Street if this is really it. She confirms it. Recently, a demon escaped observation, but her sharp senses helped her track him right here. Ravvice asks for the demon's name. Street simply replies his name is Scream. He has the terrifying ability to turn human screams directly into pure magical power for himself. He fuels himself by converting cries of suffering into demonic frequencies. Therefore, the best bait is whoever screams the loudest. The main character realizes this and looks at Xian, thinking he might finally be useful for something. Xian screams in terror. He claims he does not know fear and has never screamed in his life. Ravvice grabs Xian, saying they will talk inside, while Xian begs him to stop because he is terrified. Bridge #2 tension builder. Let's follow them inside. Even the main character wonders why anyone would be afraid of these decorations. Xian thinks it is Street stories. He feels a strange aura, something is definitely hiding in here. Ravvice tells him to quit panicking. They came here specifically to catch that something, after all. Suddenly, a decoration's head drops, and the main character lets out a yell. Xian grabs him, screaming in fear. Xian wonders if he just swore, He was scared, right? The main character snaps at him to shut up. So, that was the first time he ever screamed? Xian adjusts his glasses and says it sure seems so. Is this really the fastest way? The main character explains that demonic energy is released whenever human evil reacts. This means if you absorb a demon's massive evil, you can trigger way more power from the bloodstone. Suddenly, the monster's voice rings out. He calls the scream sweet, like the pure, bright blood of a baby's cry. Xian stares at Scarum in horror and yells. Scarum loves it, telling him to scream even louder. Xian asks Minho if this is the demon. The main character grabs Scarum's hand, warning him not to touch. This is just his servant. Scarum is confused, wondering if the boy before him is even human. Ravvice smirks, telling Scarum to get ready for the scream he is about to let out. He tosses the main character aside and grabs Xian. As the boy yells, Scarum praises the perfect sound. Ravvice clicks his tongue, annoyed that he is stuck using only one hand for this fight right now. Bridge #3, the midpoint pivot. Watch closely because Scarum is blasting more mana just to keep those sweet screams coming. Ravvice shouts for him to just shut up. Those screams are only making the demon stronger. Xian covers his mouth and begs for mercy. Scarum laughs at those eyes filled with pure horror. He promises to turn that fear into earrings. The main character dodges and asks who is actually scared. Scarum mocks his tiny, floundering arms. The main character realizes his physical body still can't handle this demon. Even with his skills, his human frame is just reaching its absolute limit. Scarum grabs Ravvice, while Xian forces his hands over his face, desperately trying not to let a sound out. As the main character struggles, Scarum plans to pick out his brains using the power from his friend's screams. The main character insists he will not scream for a monster. Scarum just smiles and offers a test. He drives his fingertip right toward the main character's eye, and Xian can only watch in total despair. No! The shards begin to crumble, and Scarum looks on in complete and utter confusion. Did his eyes just brighten? Banbe once wrote about modifying the bloodstone to channel power into humans. But this true power only reveals itself after the demonic bloodstone is finally shattered to pieces. Bridge #4, the closer Ravvice, just chuckles. Trust me, you and I are about to see some serious payback. Alright, you and I are watching as Scarum asks why his claws cannot even scratch a human eye. MC swings his hand and lets out a gut-wrenching scream. Xian, there is no need to stop him. Just let him scream. Let him scream, Xian says, but he will just get stronger. Ravvice orders him to shut up and yell. Xian clenches his fist. He cannot know what is in his mind, but he has to trust Minho. He takes a deep breath and lets out a massive scream. Scarum loves that sweet sound of agony. Thanks to the demon bloodstone activating, the seal on his right eye is finally shattering. Xian keeps screaming as Scarum laughs, calling him an idiot for giving away his own strength. This arrogance will be his end. He slows down when he devours screams, right? Scarum asks, looking confused. Ravvice just mutters. What? Now pay attention, because the demon bloodstone is finally breaking. He strikes Scarum's head while letting out a terrifying screech. If he keeps absorbing the demon's malice, his former power will come rushing back very quickly. A mass of mana hangs in the air before vanishing completely. Our main character realizes this power is beyond any human medicine. With the demon bloodstone released, he just needs to absorb malice to regain his true power. Xian watches in terror, wondering if that demon actually absorbed him. Is he even okay? Ravvice just smirks and replies that they are going to go devour the next demon now. Later on, Mina thanks the vice principal for seeing her out. Hyung tells her she is forbidden from leaving before training. Mina gives a timid yes as Han slams the door. She clenches her fists, telling herself she can do it. She looks up and spots a security camera tucked away in the corner of the room. Myra reaches toward the screen, telling Hanu that her motherly heart is worried. She asks if he will still obey her after the transfer. Of course, Mom, Hanu replies. The process begins. A moment later, Street turns around, smelling a heavy scent of fresh blood. Is it true? She asks, congratulating him on reclaiming his magic. The Lord of all living blood has returned. Lord Ravvice Vindika. May trails of blood follow every single step that he takes. Street vows to be his shadow even into the darkness. MC tells her not to overdo it. He orders her to find the next targets and track down Mara. Trust me, you and I are about to see a brutal hunt. Street explains that this demon feeds on the dark energy in human lungs. It is Apef's soul. He stands next to the smoking man and laughs joyfully, begging for more and more dark energy. Suddenly, MC grabs Apef by the head and orders him to follow. The monster cries out in terror. He slams Apef into the dirt, calling him a nightmare. Next, a demon that absorbs energy from drunks. Ravvice hacks his opponent to pieces, complaining that he also smells something absolutely repulsive in the air. Xian admits he never realized so many demons were hiding here. But why do they feed on humans? MC explains that demons who flee to the human world lose their magic when they cross the border. To survive, They must find a new source of energy. If they don't, they will simply vanish. I see, Xion says. So spirit possession is more than just a legend. Ravvice just listens. His magical power seems high enough to try something. Xion stares at the erupting mana and yells out in total shock. Our main character replies, finally getting it back. Although his sword is not fully summoned, he tells Xion that there is no need to worry about Street being alone. Her magic is so faint that no one will notice her. Later, she hangs from a branch as a bat. She snaps her eyes open, whining about being so hungry she might actually die of starvation. Suddenly, she spots something. She dives forward and snatches a glowing maggot, celebrating that she finally caught it. She frowns, wondering what this gross thing is. It is definitely a bug imbued with Mara's magic. She needs to inform Lord Ravvice immediately. A car drives out with Hansu holding Mina. He tells his mom how easily he knocked her out like a pro. Mara just laughs. Move faster. Hansu orders Hanyang to go. As Mina starts to wake, Street is screaming with a worm in her mouth. MC tells her to spit it out and talk. Street shifts back to her normal form, shouting for Master Ravvice to look at her discovery. He asks about the stench. Street says they are Mara's parasites. Trust me, it gets worse. Alright, you and I are diving into a world where demons steal bodies just to survive and Mara just possessed a human. Problem is, a demonic soul cannot survive in a human shell for very long. Xion asks if Mina was recruited just to be a vessel, and Ravvice agrees with a look of pure discontent. Mara has always been obsessed with youth and beauty, even though she is technically way older than his own mother. Xion tells the old woman to calm down before asking the big question. Exactly how old is Mom? Converted to human years, he is 6,375. Xion is stunned. Exactly how old is he then? Flashback time. His uncle once showed him the human world while people were busy building a massive temple. Varkin laughed, claiming the humans were building that glorious temple in his honor. He was totally feeling himself. He asked his nephew if he understood. To him, other demon gods were just insignificant dreamers. The main character thinks this is a joke. Banbe speaks up, saying people actually worship the god Ra, not him. Varkin literally grabs him by the hair. Why worship a god he already beat to a pulp? He claims ownership over everything because he won. Then, he just laughs and pulls the boys into a massive hug. Back to now. Xion says the pyramids were built 4,000 years ago. This is way beyond expectations. Now pay attention, because the stakes just hit an all-time high. Mara might actually eat Ravvice's sister. The main character nods, dead serious. Meanwhile, at an abandoned site, Mara welcomes the arrival of a dark, moonless night. The night she was born. An empty sky. Hansu asks if they have finally reached the place. Mara climbs the stairs with help. This is at a hidden crevice between the two worlds, concealed from the eyes of the heavenly world. Suddenly, her eyes go wide. What is all this? She sees corpses scattered across the floor, each one pinned down by strange, blooming flowers. Bauer looks over, clearly annoyed. Who are these people, and what are they doing in his space? She introduces herself as Mara Bellax. This is her chosen body. Bauer's face completely drops in shock. He mocks her. The former queen of the Black Throne is now a fugitive who cannot even summon monsters? He tells her to get lost. Hanu just stares at the corpses, wondering who these idiots were. Bauer barks an order. Watch your step, do not you dare touch those sacred flowers. Mara sighs. She is weak now, barely holding this human shell together. That is why she created her children to protect her. Bauer laughs. A half-human, half-demon hybrid? A parent who cannot protect their own kids is just pathetic. Mara does not care. She gave them life, so they will do their duty. She tells him to take his weeds and leave. Bauer snaps. Weeds? These are his sacred flowers. He lunges forward, screaming that nobody understands the beauty. Hanu just kicks him in the face. Mara laughs, calling him a good son. Cold-blooded, right? Mara remembers the demonic souls she stole, a source of power she worked so hard to get. She forces a mysterious liquid into the children's mouths and commands them to swallow every single drop. Let's pause. This isn't just water, it's the soul essence from the deepest part of the demon world, the tears of the creator god himself. This water is the ultimate source of raw magical power. It is holy water, meant to satisfy her greed. Gator Vindika stole it first, even though it was not his. What a vile idiot. It is a shame, but she will make it work. They will drink this and guard her until she finds Sir Kale, who is hiding somewhere in the human world. Meanwhile, the crew is sprinting through the forest. Street says Mara's stench is getting stronger. They are close. Xion spots a building, but Street's nose is basically fried at this point. Totally useless. Xion tells Minho to save Mina no matter what. Suddenly, he gets grabbed by the neck. Wait, him too? Ravvice says he will be perfect. Not as a fighter, but as a literal human shield. A shield? Street screams, begging Ravvice to just hurry up and destroy Mara already. The main character orders them all inside for a numerical advantage. Street is crying. wondering why she ever left her life of wealth. Inside, Mina is paralyzed on the floor. A glowing magic seal begins to swirl beneath her. Mara watches with a greedy smile. Hurry, just hurry up. Bauer begs for mercy on his knees. And that's where we leave it. You and I are in for one wild finale. Alright, you and I are jumping into the heat of a clash between monsters. Hanu wants the kill, and Bauer is totally submissive. He'll follow any order they give. But then, a voice cuts through the air, mocking this pathetic gathering of losers. We've got a family traitor, a greedy exile, and those half-blood twins. Quite the collection of trash, honestly. They truly deserve one another. Mara points him out, leaving Hanu stunned that this kid is actually Mina's brother. Sean trembles, asking if these bodies are real. Ravvice looks over and spots young Mu. Finally found the missing guy. It's Imion. Without Ravvice saving him, he'd be just another corpse. From here on out, he better follow orders. You and I can see Xion shaking. He's terrified, realizing this nightmare is the reality of the demon world. Bauer looks annoyed. He asks if Ravvice knows young Mu and if his master's plans are officially ruined. Mara sensed he wasn't human. Hanu asks if she can see his true form, questioning if she knows his identity. Street steps out and shouts the name. It's Lord Ravvice Vindika, the legendary killer of the Bauer family, exiled to the human world. The noble only son of the great demon king. Mara just screams in shock. Ravvice Vindika, the legendary prodigal son of Enos? Bauer screams in terror at the executioner who wiped out their entire kind. But then he pauses. This is his one big chance. He's not that ruthless killer anymore, just a prisoner trapped in a pathetic human shell. Finally, a chance for revenge. Mara screams in fury. That old fool Enos actually dared to interfere by sending her own precious son down to the human world. Ravvice knows his current human body can't fight all three. Plus, Bauer is waiting to stab him in the back. He'll deal with that moron later. For now, he orders Bauer to get lost, making the demon scream in protest. He thinks he's still the king of the demon world. He wants blood now. Ravvice just screams for him to shut up. Get out of my sight right now if you want to live. Bauer whimpers as Ravvice issues a chilling command. Tell every demon in this world that Ravvice, the Lord of Blood, has descended. They better stay silent and wait. If they want to avoid a painful death, they'll obey. Bauer is stunned. How can he use magic in that body? He bolts away, screaming. Ravvice turns to Mara. Look, old lady, if you want your youth back, expect some serious agony. You can't just hijack other people's bodies for free. Mara is insulted. Did this brat just call her an old woman? How dare he? She starts hacking up blood as Hansu warns her not to push her broken body too far. I know what you're thinking, she's relentless. She wipes her lips, desperate to see what happens to Enos's precious son. Imagine her face when her own kids rip him to shreds. Ravvice just smirks, saying he's curious about something else. How will she look when her children are slaughtered by the son of the woman she envied her whole life? Mara just calls for the twins. Which one of you is going to bring me that arrogant brat's tongue first? Hanu forms a mace from his heavy chains, promising his mother a quick victory. Meanwhile, Hanong draws her blade and floods it with dark mana. Hanu tells his sister to back off. He claims his weapon is enough to shut this kid up forever. He swings wildly, but Ravvice easily slips away. Hanong jumps in with her sword, telling her brother to stay out of it. Hanu snaps at her to get lost since she's blocking him. She tells him to shut up and watch her back. Ravvice realizes they have zero teamwork and plans to exploit it. They'll probably kill each other before they even touch him. Hanu yells at her to be careful. She almost took his head off by mistake. They're just tripping over each other. Hanu is blinded by ego, while Hanong is way too cynical to trust him. He parries Hanong's blade and redirects it, forcing her to clash directly against her own brother's mace. Hanu growls at her to stop, while Hanong clicks her tongue. Ravvice doesn't wait and goes on the offensive. Even as half-bloods, their raw strength is insane. He wonders what kind of experiments Mara did on these two. Hanu swings his mace, telling Hanong to relax because he's the one taking the kid's tongue. He lunges while Hanong aims to take the head off. Ravvice tries to dodge the combined strike, but he's still wounded. Hanong is shocked he moved in time. Hanu swings again, shouting that Ravvice almost died and better start praying. He wants the kill for himself. The twins charge together as Hanong flares her mana and screams for him to die. Die! Ravvice kicks off and leaps back, realizing he doesn't have enough mana to take them both head-on. It's a gamble, but he needs to provoke them. He mocks Hanu, saying his big sister is clearly the stronger one. Trust me, you and I knew that would work. Hanu snaps, claiming he's older by 18 minutes. Total psychological warfare. Let's jump into a fight where our main character is clearly outmatched. Han just laughs, calling him a stupid idiot for trying close combat. Hanu tells her to shut up, promising to deliver this idiot's corpse to his mother soon. The main character just thinks, okay, let's go. The strikes get more violent, but the main character is already in range. Ravi swings his sword right over Hanu's head. Suddenly, Street lunges at Mara, screaming for Lady Mara of the 12 Black Thrones to finally pay attention. She once respected her, but Mara let greed turn her into a monster. It is a pathetic, heart-wrenching disappointment. Mara is offended at being called scary. Street closes her eyes, calling for Lord Xian before charging in with clenched fists. Xian starts hammering on the dome, covering Mina. He screams, unable to tell if it is burning hot or freezing cold. He shuts his eyes tight and prays, begging for Mina to finally open her eyes again. Street fights Mara with everything she has, hoping to buy Lord Xian enough time to save Mina. Xian gets blasted back from the dome, his palms glowing red as he gasps for air. He clenches his fists, knowing he is just a human, but refusing to give up on her now. Xian throws a punch, shouting that they will save Minho. Meanwhile, Mara strikes Street down with her massive tentacles. She sneers, asking if Street is done playing this pathetic little demon game yet. Street grits her teeth, shocked that Mara has such power even in a rotting body. That is a member of the 12 Black Thrones for you. Mara is furious that anyone thought she could be taken down so easily just because of her current state. Street slams into a wall, screaming in pain as Mara mocks her, telling her to watch how this worm finally dies. Terrified, Street screams for Master Xian to run while he still can. He looks around in confusion before being pinned to the floor by thick, viscous liquid. Mara just tells him to wait. She is literally draining his energy. Xian tries to struggle, but his body completely refuses to obey him. Now pay attention, because this ritual is where things get truly dark. Mara reaches for Mina, creating seals to finish her twisted plan. She swears by the blade that severs souls. By the moon of the vow, she rejects her rotting flesh forever. She calls for the flames of greed to burn through her veins and open a path into the heart. Darkness answers her call. The vow is complete. Mina's eyes glow purple, and the main character screams as his nightmare begins. He channels mana through his sword and charges the twins. Hanong screams for him to stop right there. Hanu is beyond annoyed, shouting that he is supposed to be the first one to strike. Suddenly, thin threads of energy wrap around him and bind him tight. Tape slams over his mouth, and he hits the floor hard, completely unable to make a single sound. Ji puts a finger to her lips, telling him to be quiet. She asks if it is really okay to torture poor brother Ravvice like this. At that exact moment, Mara's essence flows into Mina. The possession is total. Mara lets out a chilling laugh. Finally, she has achieved the perfection she always wanted. Standing over Yanju's corpse, she admires her fresh, new body. This feeling of power is exactly what she needed. She vows to enjoy this beauty forever, while Xian and Street scream in pure horror. You and I both saw this coming, but it is still insane. Hanung attacks, and our main character realizes he is just too late. Ji peeks around the corner, blushing as she gushes over how beautiful Ravvice's lips are. To her, his new appearance is nothing short of incredible. The main character reaches out his hand and screams, while the girl tells herself to focus and come to her senses. Belta is in danger, but if she interferes, Rava's brother might see her. Just the thought of it makes her heart race. But she can't just stand here and watch. Hanu tries to crawl away, but Hanong spots him and wonders who could have done this to his brother Hansu. The main character swings his blade. The girl screams, calling Hanu a total fool. Mara looks over, asking what is wrong with Hanu. He screams, wondering where that idiot went. Suddenly, someone leaps out. Mara just chuckles, calling them a little rat. Hanu asks if his mother succeeded. Mara spreads her arms, asking him if she looks beautiful in this new form. Hanu agrees, she looks totally different. Xian can't believe it. She actually stole Mina's body. Is it all over? Street screams that there is still a chance because Mina's soul has not completely vanished yet. The main character turns, shocked. Street explains that it is currently a moonless night. Trust me, this is the only hope we have left. On this night, the boundary between worlds is blurred, and souls are at their most unstable. Alright, you and I are diving back in where Mara's ritual isn't done yet, and Mina's soul is still hanging on. Mina suddenly screams for Minho, "Look, that body is moving." She is begging him to save her. Ravi stares at her, wondering if it is actually Mina's soul, while Mara just laughs at the uncanny resemblance to Minho. Our main character is fuming. How dare she mock him? Meanwhile, Mara remarks on how exhausted Hansu looks. She wants them all dead. Hansu screams in agreement, ready to kill him and finally finish off that little rat. The main character fights back with everything he has, refusing to let these pathetic half-breeds humiliate him like this anymore. Mara asks if they have been waiting for her arrival. Now she's ready to feed and gain strength. As Street scowls, Mara licks her lips, wondering who the first course is. Xian watches in pure terror as Mara notices a strange, round object sitting there on the cold floor. She tilts her head, but suddenly a small version of the main character appears, radiating blinding mana everywhere. Mara screams, terrified by whatever that is. The main character turns, shocked, while she curses at the unbearable stench. Suddenly, Someone rushes to Street's side and begins ripping out the spikes that had her chained to the wall. Street screams out in agony. The girl then hands Xion a special weapon, shouting for her to use it immediately. Street is stunned to see it is actually Ji. She helps free Xion and hands him the weapon to save those Ravvice. He is absolutely terrified when he sees her, stepping back and staring at the gun in pure confusion. Street looks at her hands, wondering how on earth Ji got a weapon powered by the literal demon world. Xion is just as lost. He takes the gun, sensing the thick, heavy, demonic energy swirling deep inside it. The energy suddenly engulfs his entire body, and he screams in pain as something starts going horribly wrong. Now watch this. His heart races, he is suffocating, and Mara is staring at a bomb that came out of nowhere. What were they planning? Street lunges through the smoke, but Mara parries the blow, mocking the new toys on her hands as if they could change anything at all. Street screams that it is no toy, but Mara just laughs, claiming the outcome was already written in stone. She calls her an abandoned monster. Street fires back that someone who threw away their own soul for greed has no right to talk. She slices through a tentacle. Mara just smirks and stretches out her hand, looking completely unfazed by the attack. It's more than a toy, but Mara warns that if she just eats everything, it won't matter in the end. She lashes out with her tentacles, and Street barely dodges. She strikes back, but the skin has hardened. Mara is already adapting to the body. The longer this fight goes on, the worse it is going to get for them. Mara waves her hands, wondering aloud exactly what a fresh, quivering monster like Street will taste like. Street notices the umbilical cord connected to Yanju. She realizes Mina is just a normal human who can't handle this yet. That distraction is all it took. Mara throws her against the wall. Street knows she must cut the umbilical cord to Yanju's body to finally end this ritual. If she could only break the circle. Meanwhile, Xion finally starts coming to his senses. You and I can see his breathing even out as he stares at the gun, wondering what comes next. He turns his gaze toward the dome and notices the umbilical cord, realizing Yanju's body is still connected to those tentacles. The transfer is not finished yet. The magic circle is required to protect the original body until the process is totally complete. There is still a chance to destroy it. And suddenly, his eyes begin to change. He starts seeing the internal structure of the magic circle, realizing it is all just complex geometry. He instinctively activates the control panel. Geometry is just shapes, and shapes can be turned into formulas. A magic circle is just a structure of numbers. This one keeps the link between Yanju and Mina's physical bodies. He just needs to solve the equation and find the one fatal vulnerability. He writes the equation and taps the panel, analyzing the cubic polynomial in the center of the barrier. The mana flows in an shaped curve. The seal's core is at the extremum, meaning he has to differentiate. Street watches in shock. Is Xion actually hacking a magic formula? He is breaking into the circle itself. Thanks to the new weapon, Xion can analyze magic. Mara slams Street with a tentacle, demanding she come closer. And trust me, we're left hanging as Street grits her teeth, waiting for Xion to finish the job. Alright, you and I are jumping right into the chaos as she buys time for his final move. He restructured the entire circle into a complex matrix, hunting for that single diagonal line. The mana vector is a symmetrical grid. Find the eigenvalue, and you find the one fatal flaw. He grinned widely. He had found it. The critical point was finally exposed. Aiming his weapon at the magic circle, he declared that its local minimum was nothing but its own doom before firing. A massive energy beam erupted, the recoil sending Xion crashing down while the light pierced the dome and shattered it into pieces. Sensing the shift, Mara immediately turned as Xion rolled across the cold floor. She screamed in a total rage, demanding to know what happened to her circle, while he laughed about his proven formula. Everything went according to his formula. The magic circle was gone. As the energy faded, Xion started losing consciousness. Mara panicked, realizing she was stuck because her soul transfer was not even finished yet. Street told Xion he did an amazing job, saying she would handle the rest from here. Watch closely, because Mara is actually terrified of what she is about to do. Street swung her weapon, slashing her razor-sharp claws right across Yanju's body while Mara shrieked in absolute panic at the sight. Mara lashed out with tentacles, slamming her into a wall before rushing to Yanju, refusing to let them ruin her plans. Clutching the fresh wound, she cried out that this was her precious, perfect new body. She refused to lose even a single piece of flesh. But Street struggled to her feet anyway. She warned that greed grows like a tree until it snaps under its own weight, leaving nothing but filth behind. Infuriated, Mara called her a worthless insect and promised to gnaw her bones until there was nothing left but dust. Street just smirked, saying their greed would soon burn away, before looking at Lord Ravs to confirm the timing. He was standing right behind Mara, holding her children, as Hanu offered a quiet apology to his mother. That idiot absorbed the red smoke, and suddenly became incredibly powerful, leaving Mara in total shock and disbelief. She remembered the bomb and realized that smoke must have been the secret catalyst. Meanwhile, Ji hid behind a pillar, smiling about the blood she stole from Ravs. She wanted to keep it, but had no choice. Bon mentioned that his new vessel had a specialized demon bloodstone embedded right inside it. By absorbing the blood from his original body, he could finally reclaim a portion of his true power. Trust me, you and I have been waiting for this moment. Our main character grows a horn and feels lighter than ever. Mara cursed them out, calling her children useless failures for being unable to handle just one opponent together. She severed the umbilical cords connected to her children and flooded their bodies with raw demonic energy. They broke free from Ravs instantly, and Hanu thanked his mother while preparing to finally end his life. Hanong swung her blades and lunged, both of them striking at once, but he blocked them with zero effort. Mara joined the fray with her tentacles, mocking the prince of the demon world for risking his life for a human. She reminded him she was not even his blood sister, but he just parried the blow, smiling about a delicious cake. She had absolutely no idea what he was talking about. He explained that the cake his sister gave him was not just food. It was a literal taste of heaven itself. Hanu shouted that he was a demon, so why would he care about heaven? Drawing his sword, he asked if they ever shared cake, but Hanong just called him crazy and threatened to trash him. He swung his blade in a flash, slashing her neck as her dark blood sprayed across his face. He licked the blood, his eyes widening as he remembered how they both desperately tried to earn Mara's love as children. In the past, Hanong showed off her perfect grades, while Hanu finished all the chores just to get her attention. Mara was only annoyed, calling them pestering bugs and telling them to just drink water if they were actually hungry. She walked out of the house, claiming they were both completely useless. They were left devastated, realizing that no amount of effort would ever earn them a single word of praise from her. One day, they saw a beautiful girl at a cafe and a man approaching her with a smile. Mara was filled with envy, telling her children that if they did not exist, men would be lining up for her too. She told Hanong that her mother hated that girl's fake smile, sparking a dark idea. And that is where you and I see her true nature. She trips and crashes into the girl on purpose. All right, stick with me, as we witness how a monster was truly born. Mara rushes over, faking concern. The bratty girl snaps, demanding to know what she is supposed to do about her ruined clothes. Mara pulls her daughter away, offering a fake apology and promising to buy her a brand new outfit. Outside the cafe, Mara's face twists into a grin. She hugs Hanyong, calling her brilliant for that stunt. She mocks the girl for getting soaked, and seeing her mother this happy, Hanyong is absolutely over the moon. It was the first time her mother had ever given her a single shred of praise. Hansu wants in too, begging for a chance to prove his worth. That is when Hanyong realizes the truth. If you hurt the people her mother hates, you get rewarded with love. If you crush the people her mother despises, she will finally look at you with pride. Without hesitating for a second, she began staining her blade with blood, all to make her mother happy. She gleefully promises to kill 2 people next time. In response, her mother pulls her into a tight embrace. Kill just one more, her mother whispers, and I will give you all the love you want. Our main character laughs after seeing these memories, mocking how she raised them. Enraged, Hanyong and Hanu pounce at once, screaming for his head. Hanu shouts that he will get the first kill. Their mother just sighs, telling them to wipe this idiot out of her sight already. Rava swings his steel, realizing this is the true, disgusting nature of demons. With one clean stroke, he severs Hanu's arm completely. He turns to Mara with a cold smile. He finally acknowledges she is worth the effort of killing personally. That look in his eyes terrifies her. He is transformed into a literal beast of the battlefield. Hanu collapses, clutching his bloody stump and screaming in agony. His sister just calls him a pathetic idiot. She should have been more careful, she hisses while attacking. Rava's parries, shattering one of her blades. He asks if she is actually worried about her brother. Hanu is livid, screaming that she is a fool and that this whole mess is her fault. He rages that she should have handled it. As she turns to argue back, he demands that she just kill the target. He screams to let the idiot die now, or he will be the one to finish her off instead. Now, pay attention to this moment. Ravvice just smiles, telling these fools to keep fighting each other. Hanyong finally feels true fear. Knowing she cannot block the next strike, she does the unthinkable. She grabs her own brother and uses him as a human shield. The blade tears a massive gash from his shoulder to his side. He falls, wailing in pure agony as the pain sets in. Blood sprays everywhere. He panics, crying out for his mother. Mara just clicks her tongue in disgust, calling him a piece of useless trash. She commands Hanyong to drop the brat and keep fighting. Their steel clashes with a violent, ringing sound. Hanu can feel his life slipping away. He lies in the dirt, begging his mother not to abandon him, but his eyes go dark. Mara does not care about her own blood. She lashes out with her tentacles to assist Hanyong, ordering her to finish this fight and stop his pathetic resistance. Ravvice bats the tentacles aside. He took out one kid, but Mara is almost finished with the body transfer. If he waits any longer, Minho will be gone forever. He does not know how much his body can take, but he has to gamble. He catches her sword with his bare hand and yanks her close. He lifts her head, exposing her throat to the air. You and I both know this looks insane, but watch. He sinks his teeth in and starts drinking her blood. Even Mara is starting to panic now. He pulls away, and Hanyang collapses from total exhaustion. He prepares to lunge. By gorging on blood to his absolute limit, his strength is about to skyrocket. Then, he charges straight for Mara. She sends a swarm of tentacles to keep him back. He carves through them with ease. As he gets closer, she loses it, throwing everything she has at him. She screams, asking why he will not just die already. He swings his blade at blinding speeds, but he can feel his muscles tearing apart. He is at his breaking point. It feels like he is being ripped into pieces, but he was waiting for this opening. He breaks through, reaching her back to sever the umbilical cord. Mara whirls around and shrieks. How dare he ruin her entire plan at the very last second? Before she can react, Ravvice slams her into the floor and wraps his hands around her throat. She screams for him to let her go. He gasps for air, telling her it is finally over. Her miserable, rotten life ends here. She wails that she cannot die to someone like him. Ravvice just looks down and gives her one final warning. And that's where we leave it for now. If she leaves Minho's body voluntarily, he will spare her. She stares back, completely stunned. All right, you and I are about to see if a Demon King's oath is actually real. She thinks he is just an idiot, afraid of a messy explosion, so she gives him a wide, wicked smile. Losing this host is a shame, but survival is her only goal. She believes the blood of the Demon King will never lie. With his family honor on the line, he tells her to drop the sword and do exactly as he wants. She has no other choice. The blood sword in his hand suddenly turns to dust and disintegrates. He lets her go, but she tries one last sneak attack, lunging from the girl's mouth while calling him a complete and total idiot. He expected that. His hand turns demonic and he snatches Mara right out of the air. She is shocked. He mocks her, asking how one of the 12 Dark Barons fell for such a simple trick. To be honest, he had no idea how to save the host. Tricked and trapped, Mara screams out in absolute rage. But what about his oath? What about the honor of his father? As he drags her from the body, he coldly explains that he only needs to preserve his own personal honor. She tries to stay, but he just smirks at the pathetic sight before finally ripping the demon out, leaving the girl unconscious on the floor. Mara shakes her tentacles and begs for mercy, promising to do whatever he says. As she begs, she notices Hanyang standing up and grabbing his sword. Trust me, she is absolutely thrilled, mentally cheering for the boy to kill this idiot. Hanyang raises his blade. Ravvice notices, but he does not even bother to move an inch. Instead, Hanyang stabs his own sister. He hates how she always takes all the glory for herself. He won't let her win. With his very last bit of strength, he collapses, smiling as his sister dies right there on the floor. Mara's children are dead, but she does not feel a single shred of sadness. She screams that he is a fool who just wasted his last chance at life. Ravvice mocks how they died calling for mom, but Mara just keeps begging for her life. She claims she was like a sister to his mother, but he does not believe her. She tells him to ask her, lying about how well she treated his mother. Street watches with pure disgust. Mara's children are dead, yet she only cares about herself until the very end of this battle. She says she can just give birth to more children, but Ravvice does not want to hear it and immediately slices her tentacle off. And I know what you are thinking, that is a pretty pathetic reputation for one of the legendary 12 Dark Barons. Mara tries to speak, but all that comes out is a wet, dying wheeze. She is filled with pure rage that this child dared to humiliate her, vowing to kill him, but it is far too late. He stomps on her head, turning her into a disgusting pile of shapeless slime. Mara's dark energy rises up, entering his eye and fueling him with fresh power. Finally, it is all over. Street approaches as Ravvice stares at his demonic hand, feeling the massive surge of power from the fallen Baron. Power is absolutely gushing. He pulls out a handkerchief to block the vile stench, complaining about the waste of time. Street pities the twins, wondering if they could have lived happily without the demon's interference. He coldly replies that they will never know the answer to that question. Even without demons, human greed is enough to kill any child. G peeks from behind a pillar, smiling that everything worked out before trying to slip away from the scene. Ravvice calls her out instantly, making her panic and try to hide again, which only makes things worse. She sheepishly asks him to ignore her, but he just sighs her name, Beltia. Street is stunned. Beltia is a legendary weaponsmith with a very ancient history in the entire demon world. The youngest daughter of the Martano family, raised in pure luxury. She is the genius lady of weaponry, a talent born only once every 3,000 years. He asks why she is following him, and she claims she is a gift for Lord Ravvice. The surprise worked, so she dives out the window and vanishes into the night. And trust me, it looks like you and I are going to see plenty more of Lord Ravvice and his legendary stalker. Stick with me, things are getting messy. Her face looked like Jinje's, making him grit his teeth. He snapped, "What is wrong? That idiot Bony probably shoved Beltia's soul into Jinhai's body. This was becoming way too much trouble. He cursed and said that once they reached the demon world, he would hand Banbe over. She could boss him around however she liked. She looked shocked, trying to act polite while saying she wouldn't dare. Then, she temptingly asked, "Exactly how long?" He promised she would be served forever. Meanwhile, Varkin was excitedly telling his sister about the chaos. He explained he was so shocked that he just drank her blood right there. The nephew is just like him. She called it cruel and asked what Ravvice did next. He told her he used the absorbed power to slice off her tentacles and crush her head. He went into detail about the carnage. Closing his eyes and waving his hands, he claimed it was too brutal to even talk about anymore. She smiled and said she felt so sorry for poor Mara. He told her if she was actually happy, she should react normally instead of just twitching the corner of her lips like that. She snapped back that she wasn't happy. He needed to stop using Ravvice in his games. They finished off Mara for escaping to the human world. That was enough. Because of her useless son in the human world, she says she cannot live even a single day in peace. He mentioned that the tea they were drinking was sent by the Reuter family. He heard it was a rare delicacy, and she had been drinking it calmly until now. She took a sip, saying the tea and her son were separate issues. He joked that since Ravi can use his true power, she has nothing to worry about. He told her to relax and finish. She turned a suspicious gaze on him and asked what he, Bon, and Gamadare were actually planning together. He immediately got worked up and swore that the great demon king had no idea what was happening. She snapped back, asking if he really believed Banbe could plant that bloodstone in Ravi without the king knowing. Suddenly, her eyes went wide with a realization. She jumped up and shouted, "Does he want to use her son to catch Morgoth? Now watch this." He happily confirmed it, and then she pounced on him and started strangling him, screaming, "Shed, kill him." He coughed and exclaimed that Ravvice himself wanted to catch the guy. Could an uncle really ignore his nephew's wishes? She bit him, screaming she should have finished him off 1,000 years ago. While he cried out in pain, Bonet just sat there calmly drinking tea. He glanced at them and thought about the saying that brother and sister are enemies from a past life who were reborn just to meet and fight all over again. He set his tea down. Morgoth is the master of death, the god of destruction who turns everything into nothingness. When that wind of death blows, the heavens, the demon world, and the human world will all fall. He is a cruel strategist who wants to devour the human world and rebuild the demon world. Wherever he is hiding, let him wait a little longer. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Is it showdown time? Not yet. Ravvice just got Mina safely home. After observing her for a while, he mentally told the spirit Minho that the debt for providing him with a body was finally repaid. Suddenly, the door swung open and Tyke shouted that she should be at the training center. What the hell is she doing lying here? Jui ran over in a panic. She asked her son what was happening here. The main character lied and said she got hurt during rehearsal. Tyke exploded in a rage, asking how they let this happen to a future star and if this was actually his doing. Did they plot to frame him? Jui couldn't believe he would say that. He claimed they were both against Mina becoming an idol. Every time Mina was mentioned online, commenters just kept praising him instead. Did they do this just because they were sick of seeing those comments? He ordered the secretary to get his phone and take a picture of her. They will say it was a stalker attack to get even more attention and sympathy from the public. Isn't that right? Ravvice looked at him with pure irritation and thought that this idiot had completely lost his mind. He wanted to snap at him, but Jui did it first. She screamed at him to stop. Does he even see what is happening to the child? He turned a furious gaze right on her. She said she once believed he would be a good father for them. But as soon as her dad died, he stole her entire inheritance and used her family connections for his own election campaign. That wasn't enough for him. Now he is using Mina. He shouted that he rescued a crazy woman who ran off with a poor idiot to have children. Doesn't she remember how her father begged him to take care of them and promised eternal gratitude? She ruined her ex, and now him. You and I just watched a total family collapse. Watching him, the main character felt every word out of his mouth reeked. Could this creature even be considered a human being? Stick with me, you are about to see exactly how our main character handles this absolute human trash. Suddenly, Jui called him scum and told him to shut up. Ravvice looked on in shock while Tosic erupted in pure rage. What did she just say? She only stayed for the kids, not wanting to traumatize them all over again. She would not let them lose their father twice. Meanwhile, a hypocrite like him actually thinks he can become mayor. It is totally pathetic. He hissed through his teeth that this foolish woman had finally lost her damn mind, but she declared she was done being his puppet. From now on, she would be the hand around his throat. The main character calmed down. He once saw her as weak, but now? She reminded him so much of his mother. Taz was fuming but powerless, so he just screamed. Meanwhile, at the United States military facility, Fort Voucher in the Middle East, a demon slaughtered everyone on base. Now, with only one soldier left alive, he began examining the complex control panel. He muttered, "Where am I supposed to press? There are way too many buttons here." The terrified soldier begged him not to touch the launch button, warning that thousands would die if those missiles flew. "Now watch this. This is where it gets dark." He hesitated for a second, then pressed it. "Aren't missiles made for this?" he asked as the warning screen flashed red. "Attention! Missile strike protocol initiated." The soldier panicked, screaming, "What the hell is he doing? Who is this guy?" He told him he was the devil, and the soldier could only stare back in absolute paralyzing shock. Then he turned back, sparing the man's life just so he could tell everyone that the demon Morgoth had done this. Soon, the missile reached a foreign airspace. A mother and child watched the bright dot, her son pointing in joy. Then, a massive explosion tore through the sky, claiming countless lives. Morgoth watched the carnage. As the soldier cursed, Morgoth ordered his servant Shuya to go and retrieve the fragment. His servant vanished instantly. He wondered why humans spend so much money on such beautiful destruction just to hide it. What a total waste. Alright, let's pause. Things are shifting back to the divorce drama, but with a demonic twist. They say if she divorces Jong Tasik now, she will never be able to get the family's fortune back. There is no way they can let him live comfortably. They need that money to survive in the human world. He would love to end this idiot now, but it is forbidden. He told Xian to find another way instead. He claimed Xian was the smartest person he knew, though Xian noted he barely knew anyone outside their own family. The main character told him not to underestimate himself. He created the app that monitors all that creature's traffic. Xian immediately hissed for him to shut his crazy mouth. "You cannot talk about that here." He just waved him off, annoyed that the guy even dared to touch him. Anyway, how much longer must they eat this garbage? It is time to go, but first, they deal with her. He looked at the pink bear wandering near the cafe and ordered Beltia to return to the demon world. She ignored him completely, handing out leaflets instead. Xian noted that it seemed like she did not hear him at all. He told him she would not speak face to face. He asked, "Wait, she is a genius blacksmith, right? What is his connection to her?" Back when Beltia was in the womb, the Demon King gave her father fire. She was born in the heat of a forge and thrown into the flames before her eyes even opened. Her father commanded her to burn in the king's gift, claiming these flames would show her the path of destiny. The fire ate her flesh as the world turned crimson. It was so incredibly hot. When she grew up, they visited the king. Her father proudly declared that his promised creation was finally complete. This is the Mirror of Cocytus, which turns the lies of traitors into a punishment of freezing ice shards. It is a masterpiece where pain is elevated to an art form, created by the genius of the Myrto family. The king told him his daughter's pride was justified, even if she decided to shelter the entire demon realm. Looking at this work, he understood that the praise was well-deserved. The Mirror of Cocytus will forever go down in the history of the demon world. This young talent's skill is truly the greatest. Trust me, you and I are just starting to see the headaches this king deals with, especially since he envies Beltia's father. The count bowed, admitting that the king's recent words hit him pretty hard as well. Gamadare just brushed it off, calling it nothing more than an old man's random grumbles. He accepted the gift with gratitude, knowing the demon world's arsenal was now officially in the Martano family's hands. Alright, you and I are about to see how a father's praise can become a total prison for his daughter. To him, she was their family's ultimate masterpiece, but then, Prince Ravvice's angry voice cut through the air. He demanded his mother let him go, but she just snapped at him to finally learn some self-control. If the future Demon King only knows how to turn noble lands into oceans of blood, what happens then? Does he really want to wipe out every demon? A true king rules with forgiveness and generosity. He shouted back, asking what mercy had to do with anything, since it only shames a king's honor. A demon king should know no mercy. His mother squeezed him tight, threatening to give him to his brutal uncle. He growled under his breath, muttering about how much he hated Uncle Vark. That was Beltia's first encounter with Ravvice. Years later, her father's masterpiece label pushed her toward alchemy and fire. She spent 300 years locked in that forge, bending flames and forging legendary weapons. She mastered every form of transmutation possible, while her maids complained about how unfair life was. Cori had wolfed down 3 demon fruits meant for the count, so she was sent to the stables as punishment. She knew she had to clean them, or Lord Tenton would have literally hung her from the ceiling. She pouted, arguing that she could have at least been polite and only eaten 2 of the 4. Now, watch this. Beltia kindly offered up her own share, but Cori just huffed, arguing she hadn't eaten all day. Could she and Juan both have some? Beltia didn't mind at all and let them go for it. Juan hugged her tight, wondering why the count kept such a sweet, lovely girl hidden from the world. Being locked in a forge was incredibly cruel, but she trusted her father's promise to set her free, eventually. Cori just smiled, saying she hoped that big day would come sooner rather than later. They dreamed of visiting the royal castle to meet Prince Ravvice, and just hearing his name made her beam. Stuck in that forge, the messy lives and daily gossip of the servants became her entire world. Their drama, friendships, and love stories were the only things that kept her feeling alive until the tragedy hit. She was born in that forge and lived her entire life within its walls, like a beautiful, golden dungeon. As her alchemy skills reached God tier, her magic became so powerful that she started losing control of it. You and I both know where this is going. During a forging session, her magic exploded and scorched her body. Her maids rushed to help her, but she desperately waved them back, screaming for them to stay away. She lost control, firing a massive blast of flame right at them as their agonizing screams filled the room. The fire reduced them to ash and bone instantly, and once Beltia saw what she'd done, she completely broke. Time felt like molten metal, and her uncontrolled flames burned so hot they melted the remains away completely. She collapsed over what was left and screamed, and after that day, no demon dared come near her forge. Eventually, the Count visited and told her she had officially become the living embodiment of the eternal flame. She looked at him and said she couldn't stay anymore. She needed to finally leave this place. He flew into a rage, shouting that she could never leave because someone might try to kidnap her. What about the family? Their clan had finally earned a spot among the 12 Black Barons. He cruelly asked if she wanted more innocents like Cory and Juan to die again, making her shudder with guilt. She promised she would never leave, and the Count just smirked, perfectly satisfied with how he'd broken her. Beltia was now utterly alone. Decades passed, and the Order scrolls left at her door became her only link. Her past memories slowly rusted away, turning into nothing more than a pile of useless scrap metal. Every trace of her existence turned to ash, but just as her life's meaning vanished, the unexpected happened. One rainy night, Ravvice and Bone snuck in, with his friend complaining and cursing about why he even came. He was soaked and blamed Ravvice, but the future king just told him to stop his whining. Trust me, you and I are about to see Ravvice find a legendary weapon that will change his entire destiny. Alright, you and I are about to see if a legendary alchemist can really grant this guy's impossible wish. Banbe wonders what he wants, and the main character's answer is simple. He needs the most flawless sword in the entire world, and he needs it fast. Who is this mysterious alchemist? The two walk through the forge, totally ignoring Beltia, who is just standing there looking at them in complete and utter confusion. Banbe admits he only knows the guy from rumors, so he is not exactly sure about any of the details. He thinks the name is Beltia. Ever since this genius joined the Martano family, famous for making torture devices, they have held one of the 12 Black Thrones. This alchemist is clearly playing on a whole different level. Right now, they are the ones supplying weapons to everyone living inside the Demon Lord's massive castle. He starts joking that Ravvice is the only exception, which just gets him told to shut up. Whatever. Ravvice just wants to find this master alchemist as soon as possible. He's curious about what kind of person they are looking for. He glances around the forge, wondering where the master is hiding. The heat is driving them crazy. Meanwhile, Beltia just stands there in silence, staring at the young man and wondering if this is Prince Ravvice. Are they actually looking for her? She is the genius alchemist of the Martano family, after all. She nervously bites her lip, wishing they'd just look her way. I mean, the legendary master they are searching for is standing right in front of them. Finally, the main character notices her and snaps. Who is she? How long has she been standing there spying on them? He asks if she's seen the genius alchemist around. She's stunned that the prince is talking to her, while Banbe starts panicking, telling Ravvice they should leave. If they get caught here, it is game over for both of them. He is practically begging him to go. He keeps yelling that they will be discovered, even using his real name. Is he even thinking? It is way too late for that. But watch closely because you and I are about to find out exactly who this legendary master really is. No way. The rumors say the alchemist is a terrifying monster. They say ordinary demons literally burn to ash just from catching a single glimpse of his face. She is genuinely shocked to hear people are spreading such crazy stories about her. The main character steps closer, realizing she is just a young girl. So much for rumors. If she really is Beltia, he wants to know if she can actually forge his sword. She stares at him, and suddenly, a wild chain of thought starts racing through her genius brain. Small means cute, and cute means beloved. In her head, he basically just called her a cutie. She is struggling not to let out a total fangirl scream. She quickly covers her mouth before nervously telling him that yes, she can definitely make his sword. He is thrilled and asks what she needs to start. She explains that since the materials must be melted in a special flame, she is going to need a piece of his soul. That sounds pretty sketchy to him. He asks if she's actually planning to burn his soul alive. He doesn't want a sword that badly. But she explains he just needs to open up so she can see his soul, his mana, and his path. He wonders how she will manage that, and she says she will just keep watching him. For Ravvice's sake, she's determined to make it happen. He looked at her with actual warmth for the first time ever, so she vows to use every bit of her genius to forge the ultimate blade. From that day on, she gathers her courage and finally leaves the forge just so she can keep a close eye on him. She is conquering her fears all for him. She starts showing up at every training session, and finally, she sees it. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. This is turning into a total fangirl moment for our genius alchemist. She has been stalking Ravvice for ages. He suspects someone is following him, but he does not actually do anything to stop the mysterious shadow. Beltia pours all her time into creating a blade worthy of his spirit. After a long time, she finally finishes the most perfect weapon in existence. A sword called Damal, capable of merging with Ravvice's soul. She finally did it, a weapon built exclusively for him. It is a blade filled with all her knowledge. But now, she has hit a brand new, major problem. How is she supposed to give it to him? She is so embarrassed. What if he hates it or ends up hating her? She is completely spiraling. Suddenly, the forge door slams open. The main character walks in looking annoyed and demands that she finally hand over his new sword. How much time has passed? How long is she going to keep him waiting? 100 years have already gone by. His sudden arrival terrifies her. What if the sword is a disappointment? What if he thinks this piece of junk can't even cut a monster's tongue? She is losing her mind. What if he gets angry? What is going to happen to her then? He calms down and reaches out a hand. He explains that he is leaving tomorrow to take out the Zoganon traitors, so he needs that blade right now. He is actually here to ask her for the sword today. She is stunned. Did he just say he's asking her? Is he begging? Realizing how much he actually wants this sword makes her feel absolutely on top of the world. She grabs the sword Damal from the table, shoves it into his hands, and then immediately runs away to hide. And that is where we leave it for now. Trust me, you and I are definitely going to want to see if that soul sword actually works. You and I are about to see if her silence means her life is over. She was terrified he would lash out, but then he praised the blade as something truly extraordinary. The balance was flawless, a weapon that embraced his magic like it was born for it. Tomorrow, with this blade, he will wipe everyone out. When he asked for its name, she nervously told him it was Damal, Lord of the Bloody Dead. He gave her a nod of admiration before waving a final goodbye. He swore he would never forget what she had done for him, then vanished. Surprised, she watched him go, repeating his words in her heart. Did that mean he would only have eyes for her? The thought filled her with pure, unadulterated joy. In that moment, she realized how beautiful it felt to burn in white-hot flames right from birth. Her only wish was that her fiery existence would belong to him and him alone. She vowed to watch only him for eternity. Even if she knew she could never actually touch him, she never wanted to hurt him with her flames or let him burn away into nothingness. This was the exact story told to Xion. Everything clicked for him. Ravvice admitted the details were a bit fuzzy, but the core legend was real. So why won't he look at her? Simple, her face gives him major post-traumatic stress disorder. Meanwhile, Beltia was thrilled to be near Ravvice. She only managed it by hiding her face, yet the shame stung. Xion told his servant to move it. He had a burning question for her. He told Beltia he was worried. Ever since that shot, something felt seriously wrong with his own body. He had been acting like a total lunatic, which wasn't like him at all. Plus, his heart keeps racing. Blurry vision, cold sweats, and a crushing sense of anxiety. He can barely even catch his breath. Her expression turned dead serious. She claimed to know exactly what was happening to him. Wait for it, he thinks it is dark magic, but she says it is just a plain old panic attack. He stared at her, completely stunned. Was she joking? But she doubled down, it was definitely a panic attack. Every symptom matched perfectly, and apparently, he has got a split personality too. Frustrated, he asked if this was just a side effect of his body syncing up with powerful demon weapons. She just rolled her eyes. Forget the demon talk, he needs to see a doctor for those panic attacks. A simple prescription will clear all of this up in no time. Xion was devastated. Ravvice mocked him, calling him a mix of low self-esteem and megalomania, likely due to that split personality. That was cold. He actually had hope. Then Beltia explained that every single soul possesses unique energy. Energy varies between celestials, humans, and demons. If the physical vessel is destroyed, the soul vanishes with it. Watch this, Xion asks if that is all, and she confirms. She perceives the soul of her client, tailoring a weapon to match their specific energy signature perfectly. She only enhances what is already there. She can't change a soul or create a new one. That is why understanding the customer's soul is absolutely critical. He had to ask though, so that rush he felt? It was because the gun resonated with his secret, alternate personality. The energy of the alternate personality he didn't even know he had suddenly burst forth, so she simply made a gun that suited it perfectly. He slumped over, depressed. He never dreamed such a wild personality was lurking inside his own mind. Xion teased her for being talkative. Flustered, she threw her bare head back on, shouting that she was done. She only managed this long because of her temporary vessel. They had spent too much time together, she had to leave. Annoyed, he told her to just go. If she was leaving, she might as well return to the demon realm. She snapped back, refusing to leave. He promised they would be together forever, so she was staying right there. Overcome with embarrassment, she let out a scream and bolted out of the room. She shouted that she knew nothing as she fled. Xian looked at Ravvice, confused about what just happened. He irritably told him to stop talking nonsense and clicked his tongue, saying this whole disaster was because of that idiot, Banbe. He glared at the sky, wondering if that guy was up there right now, laughing at him. Suddenly, Banbe appeared right behind him, whispering that he was already there. Talk about a heart-stopping shock. You and I just saw a literal ghost. He actually showed up. What happens now? Trust me. You and I are about to see a demon prince's world get flipped upside down. He pulls Xian into a hug, joking that he's glad to see a fellow smart guy. He says brainy types like them need muscle around to actually survive. Xian offers a nervous greeting, admitting he has heard stories about the man. The guy laughs it off, saying any friend of his friend is his friend too. No need for formalities here. Our main character is fuming, shouting that this traitor is no friend of his. Banbe just asks if he's still totally clueless. Did he ever even wonder why they dumped him in the human world? He snaps back that it's because he's a sinner, then demands to know why he was given the demonic bloodstone. He figured they were just suck-ups to the great demon king's son. Banbe asks if he ever bothers using his brain. He claims he's just looking at the facts. Banbe looks exhausted, realizing there's no talking sense into this guy right now. Fine then. Let him rot in that human body until he finally kicks the bucket. The prince is furious, immediately asking about their plan. Banbe asks if he remembers Morgoth, the guy who's been imprisoned in this world for ages. Now, pay attention here, this is where the stakes go, world ending. This Morgoth guy wants to destroy the heavens, the human world, and the demon realm. Meanwhile, at a local casino, a man named Namuja is playing the slot machines. He loses again, smashing the machine in a rage. He's been at this for 3 days and wants his money back. A guy named Bauer walks up and tells him to get a grip on his sanity. He tosses him a few coins, saying it's not a fortune, but it's enough to keep the game going for now. Namuja thanks him, promising that once he hits the big jackpot, he'll pay him back double for the help. He drops the coins in and pulls the lever, watching the reels spin with total desperation. Bauer tries to break some news, but the reels stop. It's another loss, not even a single win. He was so close, but the guy sitting right next to him actually hits the massive jackpot. Namuja looks ready to kill. But just as he's about to snap, Bauer mentions that Ravvice is trapped in this world. Namuja snaps his fingers, causing the machine to explode. The lucky winner's clothes immediately burst into flames. As chaos erupts, they head for the exit. Namuja grumbles that the jackpot always goes to someone else, never him. He demands to know more about the imprisoned Ravvice. Bauer confirms it with a grin, wondering if Ravvice wanted everyone to know he's finally back. He officially reports the news directly to Lord Namuja. Okay, let's pause for a second. This whole setup? It's even crazier than it looks. Ravvice realized he was sent here to stop Morgoth, so they locked him in this weak human shell and told him to handle it? Banbe points out that he's not exactly a full demon anymore either after hundreds of years being trapped here. Over time, he actually restructured his own body, turning himself into a sort of demon and human hybrid. Xian realizes he can use both powers. That's why they gave Ravvice the modified bloodstone to match Morgoth's power. Banbe pats his head, impressed. He loves smart guys who can actually keep up with the conversation. The prince asks why it had to be him. Banbe says he's the only one strong enough for this. If the Demon King's own son showed up officially, the heavens would use it as an excuse for war. They had to use trickery. By hiding him in a human body, they keep the angels off their backs. Now heaven thinks they aren't involved. Ravvice is annoyed, asking why they didn't just tell him this from the start. Banbe fires back. If he knew the truth, would he really have agreed to live in a human body? He would have thrown a massive tantrum and refused to leave. Ravvice bites his tongue because the guy is right. He realizes he's just a modified prisoner sent to stop Morgoth and save the world. He has to save the world and stop a war between heaven and the demon realm. If a demon army shows up, heaven attacks. That means he's on his own. There are no reinforcements coming. Banbe is impressed he's following such a complex plan. Even though he's the first test subject for this bloodstone, they did a great job. The process was way better than Morgoth's. Ravvice isn't buying it. Banbe acts hurt, asking why he'd doubt his old friend like that. He puts an arm around Xian, noting he's already got power and a friend to help. Trust me, it gets even better. He points out he never actually agreed to help, and Ravvice asks if his father just abandoned him here. Alright, you and I are jumping right into a mess his uncle just admitted to betraying him to become the Demon King. He leapt from his seat, shouting in total disbelief at the utter nonsense he was hearing. How could he possibly take down Morgoth in a body like this? The reply was simple. Reinforcements were already on the way. Beltia couldn't handle it. Was he terrified? Bonet just laughed, mocking him and calling him nothing but a cowardly brat. Teeth gnashing in fury, he slammed his hands down. Did they really think these pathetic provocations would actually work on him? Why wouldn't he be able to handle it? He was going to end that idiot Morgoth personally. Banbe kept pushing, telling Ravvice to go ahead and risk his life. Fine, then he shouted that he could do anything. Xian stared in shock, wondering if he was genuinely this stupid. Our main character asked since when Beltia counted as backup. She was driving him insane. Since he was already here, he might as well drag her along too. With a dead serious look, he explained the safest place for her was by his side. Confused, he asked if they forgot what Mortanos are. Finally, the reality of the situation started to sink in. Now pay attention, a mysterious letter just materialized on the table, and Xian has no clue what it is. A Joker card hologram popped up, inviting him as a VIP guest. It was from Lord Namuja. Ravvice asked, "Didn't that fool just break out of prison?" Banbe couldn't believe the fugitive was actually bold enough to show his face like this. He told him to handle it and prepared to leave. Patting Xian on the shoulder, he told the kid to just go ahead and press the seal. He slowly reached his finger out, asking if this was exactly what he was supposed to do. Our main character panicked, screaming for him to stop, but it was too late. The moment his finger grazed that seal, both of them were instantly sucked into the letter amidst their own terrified screams. Bonet just casually wished them luck. They landed right in the middle of a casino, and Ravvice was furious he didn't listen. He already had a massive headache from Zhong Tasik, and now they were stuck in this dump. Xian looked around, asking if any money they won here could be taken back home. Ravvice just glared at him. "You and I both know this is no game. Forget the cash, their lives are on the line, so he needs to stay close. In this place, losing a single chip could literally cost him his head." Terrified, Xian clung to him as they started scanning the room for any sign of danger. Meanwhile, Street was lurking in the vents in rat form, using a phone camera to keep a very close eye on her target. As a jailer in the human world, she watched over condemned demons with pride. Nobody was supposed to slip through her fingers, but ever since she crossed paths with Lord Ravvice, keeping track of the prisoners has been impossible. Now she was focusing on Tusk. Ravvice ordered her to get everything, the bank account numbers and the safe combinations. She never imagined an overseer would be stuck waiting around for a target to finally enter their secret password. Meanwhile, Tusk was nervously gnawing on his nails. In 1 week, he claimed everyone would be calling her the mayor's wife. What now? Was she really trying to keep him on a leash? She was nothing but an arrogant woman. If she actually had evidence, he was in trouble. Suddenly, his secretary rushed in with news that the poll results had shifted. He snatched the tablet away, took one look at the numbers, and started swearing at the top of his lungs. His rival's popularity had gone through the roof. Secretary Kim blamed the accident at the construction site for the drop. Tusk snapped back that the worker just tripped and died. What did that have to do with him? He smashed the tablet, screaming that everything was supposed to be under control. The secretary apologized. They were only leading because of Mina, but now that lead was disappearing fast. Tasik tightened his lips as a dark thought crossed his mind. Maybe he should just wipe them all out together. He called Director Hong with a fake, cheerful voice, bringing up the construction project over at Incheon Station. If he managed to become mayor, Heyman wouldn't be able to just take over the entire project anymore. He claimed Hong was perfect for the gig. When asked what the catch was, he laughed and called them partners. He didn't want to keep track of favors, but admitted he was currently falling short on a few votes. He wanted to play on the voters' pity to win. Could Hong help him pull that off? After closing the deal, he hung up with a smirk, mocking how much that thug had actually risen in the world. "Trust me, this is where the real nightmare begins." He turned to his secretary and asked exactly where Jui was hiding. "All right, you and I are jumping back in," as he hears they went to the hospital, grinning because luck is finally on their side. He needs to pinpoint their exact location and send those coordinates to Director Hong, who will take care of the rest personally. Street was absolutely terrified once she realized that Mina and her mother were in serious danger, and she immediately bolted for the ventilation exit, determined to find Ravvice and warn him about everything. Meanwhile, Beltia finally finished her shift. Stripping off her heavy suit, she sat down, complaining that she'd rather be forging weapons over a literal fire. Suddenly, Banbe appeared right behind her, casually asking what she was doing out here. She jumped a mile before calling him an idiot and grabbing his shirt, shouting that she was already on edge. He just smiled, asking why everyone gets so twitchy the moment they enter the human world. She burst into tears, her rage finally boiling over as she screamed at him. Now, pay attention here. She's furious about being stuck as a beggar while Ravvice gets a rich life, working non-stop just to survive. Plus, as soon as she shows her face, total psychos try to kill her, and people are constantly chasing her down. They scream about a blue bow and demand their faces back while she runs away from them in pure horror. Clutching her head, she cried out, asking who this girl even was. He gave an awkward smile, mentioning that before dying, Ji said she only wanted to find a purse of coins. Maybe he should have waited for the money. She snapped back, asking if he really thought a purse of coins was enough to live well. He promised her that she didn't know everything yet, but her dream was going to come true. Isn't that amazing? Wiping her tears, she asked what dream he meant. He reminded her she wanted to live for herself, not just serve the clan. She touched her chest, thinking it over as he explained that living here meant she only had to work when she wanted to. She could finally do whatever she wanted. She went silent, but as soon as her eyes landed on that bear suit, fury washed over her again. She lunged forward and grabbed his clothes, screaming that she had barely been here and was already nearly boiled alive inside that hideous bear costume. She started shaking him violently while he apologized, claiming he was in a hurry and that it was the best choice at the time. She threw him to the ground in disgust, and he slowly scrambled back up, rubbing his bruised lower back. Beltia clenched her fists, gathering her courage before asking what they did with her original body. Did they grind it up? Banbe stood up and seriously confirmed that they ground everything down perfectly. Not even a fingernail was left. He checked it himself. She looked down, whispering that it probably hurt. She admitted it would have been better if they just burned her. Banbe could only say her name in regret. Suddenly, Street's worried voice rang out from behind them, asking why he was there and if Lady Beltia was with him. Banbe noted they hadn't seen each other in forever, but she just rushed up and started shaking him, shouting a mile a minute. Password, hidden camera, his mother is going to die. He told her to calm down and explain. So she revealed she was following him to get the password to the Zhang family account. Here's the crazy part. Jung Taik is going to hit Ravvice's mother with a car just to become mayor. She overheard him discussing the hit with a bandit. Beltia frowned, confused why he would kill his own wife just for a title. Somehow Banbe understood the twisted logic and asked with equal intensity, did he really want to kill his own wife just to gain the sympathy of the voters? Would she believe it if he turned out to be a demon? Beltia was stunned by how quickly he figured it out. Street looked around, sensing Ravvice's presence nearby but unable to find him. They had to tell him the truth immediately. Banbe remembered the invitation they received and started to explain. But since time was running out, he decided to handle it and asked if she knew where the mother was now. She told them the mother was likely near Lady Mina's hospital. Banbe declared they had to move out right now. Beltia decided to join them. Meanwhile, Namuja finally showed his face, laughing as he told Ravvice it had been a long time. He mocked the noble prince of the demon world for being stuck in the human world inside the body of a sinner. He promised to devour him, taunting him for falling so low as to become a mere high school student. Our main character shot back, saying that after being sent to prison, he should have repented and fixed his life. Not only did he escape, but he caused this mess. Trust me, you and I are about to see him pay. Stick with me, you're about to witness one of the most twisted demons in the underworld. Bauer peeks from cover, warning Lord Namuja to be extremely careful. The main character calls him out for it, but Namuja just laughs, claiming this time things will be different. Namuja scoffs, saying that powers only make things better. High stakes are exactly what he wants to see. He has been on a losing streak lately and is in a terrible mood. He tosses a chip onto the table with a smirk, daring the kid to bet. Namuja was once a legendary executioner from the demon world. He held the terrifying power to erase condemned sinners without leaving a single trace. Pay attention, because even the nastiest demons wouldn't dare run. They just knelt and prayed for mercy that never came while prostrating before him. One day, Bezra Kurani was hauled in for execution. He was accused of illegally absorbing souls through a forbidden blood ritual and mixing lineages without permission. Under Demon Law 47 and 89, and Article 131, his death sentence is being carried out right here and right now. Bezra screams that this is wrong, snapping his chains in a desperate rage. He lunges forward, howling at the executioner for trying to take his life so easily. He blasts demonic energy at him, calling Namuja nothing but a pathetic tool of the law. Namuja moves instantly, ending the life with zero hesitation. He was fast, precise, and most importantly, he felt absolutely nothing. Coldness was his greatest weapon, until he fell deep into the filthy, addictive world of high-stakes gambling. He became obsessed with probabilities, luck, and the rush of a bet. He started mixing his power with the game. Instead of executing prisoners, he would pull out a pair of dice and let fate decide. If Namuja won, the sinner died. If they won, they walked away free. It was the ultimate power trip. He began committing madness, leaving life and death decisions to nothing but blind luck. Okay, I know what you're thinking, this guy's insane. He tells this crying woman that if she rolls higher than him, she lives. She starts praying through her tears. Namuja rolls a low number and tells her she actually has a real chance. He shoves the dice right into her mouth, telling her it is finally her turn to play. She spits them out with everything she has. A 6. Exactly one higher than his roll. She is overjoyed, while Namuja just scratches his head, annoyed he was off by one. He orders his assistant Russo to untie her immediately. He tells her she saved her pathetic life by a single point. Talk about a lucky break. Loss meant freedom. But if he won, he would laugh while taking their heads, calling the whole thing luck. But then, he sank even lower. He started forcing the weak and innocent into his games, people who did not even know the rules. One victim was a young boy named Ray Ryun, who used a dimensional gate. He went through without permission, earning a 100-year sentence and the total loss of all his demonic powers. Namuja scoffs at the sentence, complaining that the world has gotten too soft on cowardly children lately. It is just too boring. He drops a card and tells the boy to play. The rules are simple. Flip the card, and if your number is higher, your sentence is completely erased. But if you lose, you die. Great deal, right? The boy is terrified and says he will just take the prison time. Namuja grabs him by the hair, snarling that he should have thought about refusing before he committed the crime. He tells him to flip it now. He is doing the kid a favor. The boy flips a 4. Namuja? He is holding a 7. Namuja roars with laughter while the boy breaks down, sobbing that he was only curious about the human world and just wanted a peek inside. He begs to give up his power forever if he can just live, but Namuja strikes him across the neck instantly. The boy collapses, dying. Namuja just sighs, complaining that kids these days have zero backbone when the stakes are high. If you are going to play like a demon, have the guts to lose like one and die with dignity. Blame your own bad luck. See, when a sinner loses, Namuja doesn't just kill, he consumes. Flesh, bones, and even the soul. Devouring the weak is a massive taboo, but Namuja loved nothing more than breaking rules. He was not an executioner anymore. He was a predator, a monster completely addicted to the high of the gamble. And trust me, you and I are about to see what happens when the king finally decides to intervene.